Zio Lin wakes up in a cold, futuristic hall, his vision blurry and head spinning. He's lying on the floor surrounded by hundreds of confused strangers who all seem just as lost. A harsh, authoritative voice demands he identify himself immediately. Our boy can barely focus, sweat dripping down his face as he tries to process exactly where he is and how he got here. The massive, sterile hall is filled with shadowy figures, all standing around in a state of absolute shock. It looks less like a school and more like some high-tech, futuristic holding facility. Zio Lin finally snaps out of his daze, eyes wide with pure shock. He has no memory of this place and is completely caught off guard by the strange situation he's in. Standing up, he looks around the crowded room, panic setting in as he realizes this definitely isn't his house. This guy starts wondering if he's been kidnapped or if it's a dream. A sharp pain shoots through his head, making him groan and clutch his messy hair. It feels like fragmented, strange memories are being forcibly shoved back into his mind all at once. Sudden realization hits him like a truck. He remembers receiving a mysterious package just hours ago in the middle of the night. That strange admission letter was definitely the cause of this. Rewinding a bit, Zio Lin was just a regular college grad before all this madness. He spent most of his days cooped up in a dark room, glued to his computer screen. Turns out our boy was a professional game booster, making a living by leveling up other people's accounts. He was so good that players called him a beast for his skills. He lived for the victory screen, thriving in the competitive world of online gaming. It was a simple, quiet life, even if his family didn't consider it a real, respectable job. After a long session, Zio Lin stretched out in his messy room, satisfied with another job well done. He had no clue that his normal life was about to be flipped. He spent his downtime snacking and scrolling through social media, just like any other guy his age. He was a total shut-in gamer who preferred the virtual world over the real. While browsing, he felt the constant pressure to find his true calling and prove his worth. Deep down, he wanted to show everyone that his lifestyle wasn't just a waste. Zio Lin's father used to scream at him, calling him a worthless loser for gaming all day. That's why he moved out, to show his family he wasn't just some basement-dwelling failure. Late one night, a sudden, loud knock at the door broke the silence of his apartment. Zio Lin was confused, since he wasn't expecting any visitors at such a late hour. A mysterious delivery man stood there holding a package, calling out his name. The guy's face was hidden, but he seemed harmless enough as he handed over the strange, dark parcel. As soon as he opened the package, a weird, dark energy started leaking out from the inside. This definitely wasn't anything he'd ordered, and he immediately knew something was very wrong. Strange magical seals erupted from the floor, trapping him in a swirling vortex of blue light. Our boy could only watch in terror as his bedroom began to dissolve into air. A holographic message appeared, congratulating him on being admitted to Dawn Academy. Before he could react, the system initiated a forced teleportation, ripping him away from his life on Earth. In a blinding flash of energy, he was gone. The only thing left behind in his empty room was the tray from the delivery, sitting abandoned on the cold, dark floor. Back in the present, Zio Lin clenches his teeth, realizing he's been kidnapped to this academy. He starts wondering if this whole thing is just some twisted, high-tech prank or dream. A cold, mocking voice rings out from above, asking if he's finally decided to wake up. The speaker sounds dangerous and has zero patience for the confused freshmen lying around. This stern-looking dude is instructor Chin Chuan, and he's already unimpressed. He looks down at Zio Lin, mocking him for staying unconscious for 3 hours like some pathetic, weak hibernating animal. Other students are losing it, screaming about calling the police and being kidnapped. They still think the old rules apply, completely clueless about the nightmare they just walked into. Chin Chuan just scowls at the noisy crowd, looking totally fed up with the chaos. Our boy's patience has officially run out, and he's ready to make them all shut up. Chin Chuan draws his sword, swinging it with terrifying force to quiet the room. A massive wave of purple energy surges through the hall, proving he isn't just bluffing about his power. The freshmen are frozen in fear as the shockwave slices through the air right behind them. This guy's power is on a completely different level, and everyone suddenly realizes they aren't safe. Holding his massive blade, the instructor demands absolute silence from the group. He's clearly done playing games and warns the students to keep their mouths shut if they want to survive. Zio, Lin, and the others can only stare in disbelief, wondering what kind of nightmare they've been dragged into. Our boy realizes that these instructors might actually be completely insane. Chin Chuan rubs his head in frustration, complaining about the bastards in admissions who keep sending him idiots. He looks like he's already reaching his breaking point with this new class. This dude turns his attention back to the crowd, pointing out how much time was wasted because someone woke up late. Zio Lin tries to stay quiet, hopping to avoid any more trouble. He officially welcomes everyone to Class 7 of Dawn Academy, explaining their mission. They're here to train, get stronger, and eventually earn the right to enter a mysterious, new world. This guy promises that the new world offers everything people desire: power, wealth, and even immortality. Gu Xiaoyu listens intently, her eyes fixed on the instructor as he describes these impossible rewards. Enough talk, it's time for the real test. Chin Chuan announces they're starting the potential assessment, immediately to see if any of these freshmen are actually worth the academy's time and effort. Zio Lin scans the room, realizing there are over 200 people here in the same boat. He can't help but wonder if he'll ever see Earth again after this bizarre induction. Our boy steps into a futuristic scanning portal, feeling like a character in some high-tech RPG. He's skeptical about this new world nonsense, but curious to see what his own stats are. The scan finishes with a beep, and Chin Chuan checks the results on his holographic display. The first student scores a total of 24 points, which seems to be the current standard. Another guy celebrates wildly after scoring 32 points, looking like he just won the lottery. He's clearly proud of his decent stats, already feeling superior to the other confused freshmen around him. Students keep cycling through the portals, but the results are mostly average. Chin Chuan grumbles to himself, complaining that admissions needs to stop recruiting people from the literal dumpster of society. It's finally Zio Lin's turn to step into the scanner, but something feels off. The portal starts beeping incessantly, and the process is taking way longer than it did for the others. Sweat drips down his face as the seconds tick by with no result. He starts getting nervous, wondering if the machine is broken or if his stats are just that complicated to calculate. Even Chin Chuan looks confused, nodding that others only took a few seconds while this guy has been inside for nearly a minute. He starts thinking they might have found a hidden gem. Finally, the scan is complete, and Zio Lin breathes a sigh of relief. He's just glad the awkward silence is over, but he has no idea what's about to hit him next. The instructor tells him to hold on so he can check the data personally. He's genuinely curious now, half expecting to see some god-tier stats from the student who took so long. But as he looks at the screen, his eyes widen in pure, unadulterated shock. Whatever he's seeing on that holographic panel is clearly not what he was expecting from a supposed hidden gem. The results are in Strength 2, Agility 2, Intelligence 2, and Vitality 3. Zio Lin's total attributes add up to a pathetic 9 points, which is lower than anyone could have imagined. Chin Chuan grits his teeth, staring at the screen in utter disbelief. He can't wrap his head around how someone could possibly have single-digit stats in this day and age. This dude literally facepalms, laughing at how absolutely trash the results are. He's never seen stats this low in his entire career at Dawn Academy and doesn't hold back his mockery. Zio Lin hangs his head in shame as the instructor shreds his pride, calling him a complete waste of space. Our boy is now officially the biggest failure in the Academy's history. The instructor sighs, totally done with this kid. He's already written Zio Lin off as dead weight, convinced he won't even survive the very first trial of the school year. Chin Chuan turns his back, casually labeling Zio Lin a total loser. Our boy stands there in silence, the weight of the instructor's words hanging heavy in the cold, high-tech air. Fragmented memories of being called trash by everyone in his life flood his mind. It seems no matter where he goes, this guy just can't escape the same painful labels. He grits his teeth, haunted by the word trash echoing from his childhood into adulthood. It's a bitter pill to swallow, especially when he's just trying to survive this nightmare. Zio Lin clenches his fist as his eyes glow with a faint, purple light. He wonders if he's truly stuck with this pathetic label even in a literal hellhole like this. The instructor holds up a gold ID tag, declaring that giving it to someone with such low stats is a complete waste. He practically hands over a death sentence with it. Not letting this instructor ramble on for another second, Zio Lin reached out to end it all. He was sick and tired of hearing this same old song. Snatching the card right out of the instructor's hand before Qin Chuan could even blink, Zio Lin caught it with a gaze full of pure determination. He might be weak now, but he wasn't about to give up that easily. Standing tall, Zio Lin declares that a single number won't decide his future. He's going to face the trial himself, no matter how much the instructor tries to look down. Qin Chuan smirks at his stubbornness, telling him to at least try not to piss his pants in terror. He's curious to see how reality will eventually smack this weakling down. A curious student asks about the talented students mentioned, wondering how the academy separates the geniuses from the rest. The atmosphere in the hall remains tense and uncertain. Qin Chuan explains that the lucky ones blessed by the heavens are destined to be strong. These geniuses have a guaranteed ticket to surviving and thriving in the dangerous new world. As for the rest of them, they just need to focus on surviving the entrance exam. The crowd looks discouraged, realizing most of them are probably just seen as expandable fodder. Gu Xiaoyu speaks up, reminding the instructor about the promise of wealth and power. She's remarkably calm, her gaze fixed on the man who holds their lives in his hands. Adjusting her glasses, she demands to know the actual price they have to pay for such rewards. This girl clearly isn't blinded by the flashy promises and wants the truth. Qin Chuan recognizes her as the student with the highest attributes in the group. He explains that credits are the academy's currency and can be traded for anything they desire. Gu Xiaoyu simply nods, absorbing the information with a cold, logical expression. She's already treating this academy like a game where she needs to calculate every move to win. Zio Lin watches her from behind, impressed by her elegance and high stats. He realizes the gap between them is massive, especially since the instructor treats her with such respect. Qin Chuan tells everyone to mentally chant check attributes to see their status windows. It's the standard RPG mechanic, but here, the numbers literally mean the difference between life and death. Following the instructions, Zio Lin holds up his ID tag as it begins to glow. He's anxious to see his full profile, even if he already knows the stats are terrible. His status window appears, showing his pathetic stats and a remaining lifespan of 60 years. He freezes in horror as he reads the warning that every death deducts 10 years. The entire room erupts in panic as students realize their lives are literally on the line. The idea of measuring lifespan like a currency is too much for many to handle. Suddenly, a sharp beeping sound rings in Zio Lin's ears, catching him completely off guard. His teal eyes widen as he senses something strange happening within the academy system. A special notification pops up, announcing that abnormal fluctuations have been detected. It seems the system has found something hidden deep within our boy that even the instructors missed. Zio Lin freezes as purple energy swirls all around him. Our boy can't believe it. The guy everyone called a loser just awakened some serious power out of nowhere. He's totally losing it, his head spinning while staring at the system notification. This is exactly what he needed to survive, but it's honestly a lot to take in right now. Zio Lin looks around nervously, realizing that he's the only one who can hear the strange system notifications. Even the sharp-eyed instructor Qin Chuan seems completely oblivious to what's happening right now. A holographic window floats before him, but the system is struggling to identify the new power. Both the talent's name and its level are listed as unknown with no match in the database. The detailed analysis reveals a passive effect that boosts learning efficiency by 100%. It even grants an active ability to replicate skills once a week, making it incredibly versatile for survival. Since this power has no precedent, the system grants Zio Lin naming rights. He ponders for a moment, weighing the importance of a name that truly reflects his unique learning and replication abilities. Our boy narrows his eyes with a newfound sense of purpose, deciding to keep things simple and direct. He's done being the loser and is ready to embrace whatever this new gift offers. Bathed in a vibrant purple aura, Zio Lin strikes a confident pose as he finalizes his decision. He chooses the name Academic Prodigy, a perfect fit for a guy who masters everything instantly. The system processes his input, officially registering the talent as Academic Prodigy at level 1. It then begins a final evaluation to determine exactly how powerful this new talent actually is. The screen flashes with a massive SS rank, confirming that Zio Lin has awakened one of the highest tiers of power possible. Our boy stands tall, finally feeling like he belongs here. In a close-up of his teal eyes, you can see the flicker of pure determination and excitement. This is the turning point he needed to flip the script on everyone who mocked him. Zio Lin reflects on how even someone as strong as Qin Chuan couldn't sniff out his hidden talent. Meanwhile, the instructor continues to berate the other students who are shivering in fear. He stares at the notification in disbelief, the words SS rank talent finally sinking in. This is the kind of power that people in this world would kill for, and it's all his. With a smirk and a fierce gaze, Zio Lin feels ready to take on the world. This hidden talent is his ultimate trump card, and he's going to use it to survive. The spiky-haired guy is absolutely losing it, frantically questioning the instructor. He only has 9 years of life left, but the rules state a single death costs 10. That means he'd be game over before he even gets a chance to start. Instructor Qin Chuan, the battle-scarred man, is not the patient type. He socks our boy right in the head, calling the students idiots for complaining about the rules of their new life here. Qin Chuan leans in close, laying out the cold, hard price. If he dies just once, his lifespan hits 0 and he'll vanish for good. This isn't some game, it's a literal death sentence. But there is a catch. Here, life is a resource. Finish missions, get stronger, and you can actually buy more years. It is a high-stakes economy where your heartbeat is the currency. Watching this unfold, Zio Lin is left reeling. He was just a low-level game booster, and now he's trapped in a place where his literal life is being measured and bartered by the second. The Academy promises a path to changing your destiny. Qin Chuan paints a picture of absolute power, showing what they can become if they actually survive the brutal training that lies ahead. It is not just about muscles. Knowledge, treasure, and a longer life are all waiting for those who can climb the ranks. The rewards are just as massive as the risks involved. Qin Chuan even mentions immortality. With enough credits and points, you could live forever. He points toward a cosmic future that seems impossible for a guy with trash stats like Zio Lin. Gu Zioyu, the elegant girl with glasses, finally speaks up. She wants to know if these bizarre rules only work inside the academy or if they will apply everywhere else too. The instructor confirms the bad news. Once you are a student here, the law applies everywhere, even back on Earth. There is no escaping the system once you have been chosen. Enough talking. Qin Chuan announces that the entrance exam is starting right now. The freshmen look around nervously, realizing there is no way out but to face whatever is coming next. He orders everyone to stay exactly where they are. Raising his hand, Qin Chuan prepares to send the entire group into their first trial, his voice booming through the futuristic hall. The teleportation sequence begins. Huge glowing panels line the walls as the countdown starts, signaling the transition from the safety of the academy to the extreme dangers of the trial zone. Gu Zioyu stands firm as the timer hits 3. While the other students are visibly panicking, she remains perfectly calm, ready to prove why she is the top-ranked freshman in the batch. Zio Lin grits his teeth, looking determined. He knows he is the weakest person here, but he is not ready to lose his remaining years without putting up a real fight first. In a flash of purple energy, the hall erupts. The teleportation magic takes hold, whisking all 200 students away to a mysterious and deadly forest known as the Goblin Nest. Left alone in the empty hall, Qin Chuan sighs in frustration. He is worried that this batch of trash freshmen will ruin his instructor evaluation score. Talk about having some bad luck. But just as he's wondering if anyone can truly defy the odds, a sudden burst of laughter from behind makes him spin around. Another instructor walks in, casually puffing on a cigar. He calls out to old Qin, clearly in a much better mood than our grumpy instructor after seeing his own student stats. This new guy is thrilled because his class produced an A-rank and a B-rank student. He is basically bragging, thinking he has landed the best batch of the year without any effort. Qin Chuan brushes him off, mentioning his own genius with over 40 stats. They start gossiping about the legendary SS-rank freshman rumored to have appeared in the Eagle Nation last year. But Qin Chuan quickly dismisses the rumors. He claims that SS-rank talents are just a myth with no real record, and even S-ranks are rare enough to count on one hand. Meanwhile, the students land deep inside the Goblin Nest. The atmosphere is creepy, with twisted trees and a foul stench that makes several of the freshmen immediately start to gag. Zio Lin covers his nose, looking completely disgusted. The stench is overwhelming, making him realize this world is way more real than any video game he's ever played. Right then, a blue system screen flickers to life right in front of him. Our boy locks in, ready to check his mission and see if his talent actually works. Mission details pop up for the entrance exam. Zio Lin is in the goblin nest and must escape within 1 hour. He can also hunt 5 goblins or their king. A special freshman care package is distributed to everyone. Inside is a random weapon to help them survive the forest. Zio Lin waits to see what kind of gear he will get. A sudden system notice appears with some incredible news. It turns out there is no death penalty for this specific exam, meaning their precious lifespan will not be deducted if they die. Hearing the good news, the other students start to cheer. They are relieved that they can take risks without losing years of their lives, allowing them to finally relax and focus. Zio Lin taps the holographic screen to open his care package. He ends up acquiring a novice wand, an F-rank magic weapon that comes with a basic skill called Energy Orb. As he takes hold of the staff, the system notifies him that he has already unlocked basic wand mastery. It looks like his life in the academy is officially starting now. Zio Lin examines his new wand, thinking about how much this place feels like the games he used to play. It is all about building skills and earning experience points from here. He narrows his eyes, feeling more determined than ever. If this world follows game logic, he might just have a massive advantage over the geniuses who have never gamed before. Zio Lin decides to give the weapon a test run. He swings the wand sharply, causing purple sparks to fly as the staff hums with magical energy, ready for a fight. A powerful magical discharge strikes the ground with a loud blast. Zio Lin is testing his limits, seeing exactly how much force a basic novice wand like this can actually produce. Smoke and vapor rise from the impact site as the solid stone ground cracks. It is a decent display of power, but using magic clearly leaves a visible mark on the environment. To his surprise, just using the weapon grants him 2 mastery experience points. Zio Lin smirks, realizing that he can actually grind his way to the top just by practicing alone. With his SS-rank academic prodigy talent, his skills will level up twice as fast. He raises the staff, feeling confident that he will outpace every other student in the class. But his confidence is instantly shattered as a sudden wave of pain hits him, making him groan in agony. It seems things aren't going nearly as smoothly as he thought. Zio Lin clutches his head in frustration as an error pops up. His mana pool is way too small to cast spells, which makes the novice wand practically useless for him. Nearby, a muscular bully named Wang Dalin cheers after unlocking heavy sword mastery. Zio Lin watches him, realizing that simple physical weapons might actually be the key to gaining experience. He observes the other students trying out their gear. Grinding here will be tough, though, since the time limit and stamina drain make it impossible to stay in one safe spot. Looking at his useless wand, Zio Lin decides he needs a physical weapon instead. He needs something that matches his stats and lets him maximize his insane SS rank leveling advantage. Right then, Gu Zioyu approaches him, asking if he is willing to trade weapons. She looks at his magic wand with a very specific and focused interest. She explains that she knows casting spells requires mental power and mana. Since she has high intelligence stats, she realizes that magic is the only real choice for her. Gu Zioyu bluntly tells him that the wand would suit her better, implying he is not a good fit for it. She is definitely a direct and no-nonsense type of girl. Zio Lin recognizes her as the top student from the earlier test. He introduces himself with a calm smile, curious about why this elite girl would want to deal with him. Gu Zioyu does not waste any time and asks him again about the trade. She is focused purely on efficiency, wanting to optimize her equipment before they head deeper into danger. Zio Lin hands over the wand and gives her a quick heads-up. He warns her that she'll need to aim properly if she wants her spells to actually hit anything. In exchange, he finally grabs a short sword. Zio Lin smirks as he grips the hilt. This physical weapon feels way more natural and effective for his current build. Zio Lin realizes that to clear this entrance exam smoothly, he really needs a reliable teammate. He turns his attention back to Gu Zioyu, the top student with the insane stats. He flashes a confident smile and calls out to Gu Zioyu, asking if she would like to team up. It seems like a smart move given their newly traded equipment. But before she can answer, the muscular bully Wang Dalin barges in. He completely ignores Zio Lin and tries to hit on Gu Zioyu, asking her to work with him instead. This guy is a total meathead, bragging about his physical stats being over 10 points. He clearly thinks his brute strength is all he needs to win over the class genius. Wang Dalin mocks Zio Lin, calling him an unreliable pretty boy. Our boy just scoffs in the background, knowing that high stats do not mean much without a brain to use them. Gu Zioyu stares back with a cold, expressionless gaze. She does not look even slightly impressed by this guy's boasting or his supposed high physical stats. Without a second thought, she turns around and walks away, giving him a blunt rejection. Gu Zioyu has zero interest in teaming up with someone as tactless as Wang Dalin. The other students nearby start snickering, making fun of the bully for getting rejected so easily. Hearing their laughter, Wang Dalin's face twists with pure, unadulterated rage. He is absolutely fuming, his entire body shaking as he tries to process the humiliation. This guy clearly has a massive ego and does not handle rejection very well. Looking for a target to vent his frustration, Wang Dalin turns his hateful gaze toward Zio Lin. Our boy just stands there, looking pretty confused about the sudden shift in mood. The bully suddenly snaps, lunging forward to grab Zio Lin by the collar. He shouts, asking what the hell he is looking at, clearly ready to start a fight right here. Wang Dalin continues to bark insults, calling Zio Lin a piece of trash with single-digit stats. He mocks him for even pretending to study his weapon, labeling him as dead weight. Despite the aggression, Zio Lin stays cool. He tells the bully that success depends on their own abilities and suggests he save his stamina for the actual mission instead of fighting. This just pisses Dalin off even more. He pulls Zio Lin's shirt tighter, shouting that he is going to show him exactly what his high-stat abilities can do right now. Instead of panicking, Zio Lin just lets out a small laugh. He looks completely unfazed by the threat, almost as if he knows something that the angry meathead does not. He gives the bully a cold, knowing smirk. Zio Lin tells him that he will not even get a chance to show off his abilities, just as a hidden danger approaches. Wang Dalin was busy acting like a tough guy when a green goblin suddenly leaped from the shadows. The dude barely had time to react before those nasty claws were right over him. A goblin lunges from the bushes, catching Wang Dalin off guard. He screams as the monster's claws tear through the air, barely missing him by a few inches. Wang Dalin curses, his face twisted in frustration. He can't believe he actually let a low-level monster get the drop on him like that in front of everyone. The goblin leaps through the air, eyes glowing with malice. It's relentless, determined to take down the loud-mouthed freshman before he can even pull out his weapon. Recovering quickly, Wang Dalin swings his massive sword. He lets out a roar of effort as his heavy blade slices clean through the creature's neck in one motion. Breathing heavily, the guy stands over the dead monster. He's shaken, realizing that one mistake in this simulation could actually cost him his life in the real world. This dude immediately starts blaming Zio Lin, accusing him of just standing there to watch him fail. He's clearly embarrassed by his own clumsy performance during the ambush. Suddenly, Wang Dalin freezes as he hears more rustling in the bushes. His eyes widen, realizing that one goblin was just the tip of the iceberg for them. A whole pack of the green creeps emerges from the shadows. They're everywhere, surrounding the students with toothy grins and sharp weapons, ready to finish the job. Panic spreads like wildfire through the group. The freshmen start screaming, realizing their survival trial just turned into a literal bloodbath as more and more goblins appear. The goblins don't hesitate, charging into the fray with brutal efficiency. One girl desperately tries to defend herself, but she's quickly being overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. One student gets slashed across the chest, his body dissolving into digital fragments. The simulation makes every hit feel agonizingly real, even if it's all just data. It's a total slaughter out there. The field is littered with dead students as the monsters continue their relentless assault on the remaining survivors without any mercy. Zio Lin blocks a goblin's strike, gritting his teeth as the impact vibrates through his arm. He realizes everything, the pain and the smell, is terrifyingly real right now. He spots a girl cornered and prepares to rescue her, But suddenly, a streak of purple magic whistles past the goblin's head, taking it down before it can lay a finger on her. Gu Zioyu steps up, her staff crackling with purple electricity. She looks calm and composed, ready to show everyone why she's the top-ranked student in the whole class. Covered in goblin blood, Zio Lin looks around the chaotic battlefield. He knows they can't stay out in the open much longer or they're all going to die. Our boy realizes that even with weapons, inexperienced people are just sitting ducks. This isn't just a simple game, it's a brutal and unforgiving test of survival. One student points toward a nearby cave, shouting for everyone to run. It looks like the goblins are weirdly hesitant to follow any of them inside that cavern. Zio Lin watches as the others scramble for safety, his mind racing. He needs to figure out the tactical logic behind this safe zone immediately to survive. He ducks into the cavern, realizing it's safe for now. But his gamer instincts tell him that no safe zone lasts forever in a trial like this. A system window pops up, showing a protection timer with less than 30 minutes left. They're safe, but they're also on a very tight clock for now. Gripping his sword tight, the dude tries to slow his racing heart. He needs to stay calm and analyze the situation like a pro gamer would do. Zio Lin stares into the darkness, his expression hardening. He refuses to just sit around and wait for the monsters to finish them all off later today. Kim Dane starts swinging his sword against the cave wall, focusing on his form. Turns out, the system actually rewards his hard work with some sweet experience points. He realizes he can grind his mastery level right here in safety. Since his stats are trash, our boy needs every bit of technical skill before the timer hits 0. The cave's protection is about to expire, leaving the students with only 2 minutes of safety. Panic immediately sets in as they realize their temporary sanctuary is about to vanish. Freshmen argue desperately, claiming the mission is impossible due to the monster's insane speed. They're convinced they'll be slaughtered the second they step back out into the simulation. Gu Zioyu sits quietly against the rock wall, appearing surprisingly calm compared to the others. Even with dirt on her uniform, she maintains an air of quiet, cold intelligence. While the others waste time worrying, Zio Lin continues his repetitive sword practice against the cave walls. He's determined to squeeze every last drop of experience out of these final minutes. Our boy is completely exhausted, sweat pouring down his face as he pushes his body to the limit. He knows his low stats mean he has to work twice as hard. Gu Zioyu watches him, bluntly stating that his grinding is pointless since leveling a skill usually takes an hour. She doesn't realize he has a hidden advantage up his sleeve. Zio Lin is impressed by her analytical nature, acknowledging that she's incredibly smart. He keeps his thoughts to himself as he prepares to prove her calculations wrong in record time. Watching the beautiful waifu adjust her glasses, he fully understands that reaching level 2 will take at least an hour, a luxury they simply don't have right now. But that's only the case for ordinary people. He just grins, knowing his academic prodigy talent gives him a massive boost. While she thinks he's wasting effort, he's actually moments away from achieving the impossible for a freshman. The system notification confirms he's on the verge of hitting level 2 in sword mastery. His relentless training is finally paying off, giving him a much-needed edge in the upcoming battle. Zio Lin shifts the conversation, asking Gu Zioyu if she's discovered any patterns while observing the goblins outside. He values her high intelligence and knows she hasn't just been sitting idle. She looks surprised that he noticed her surveillance work, her eyes widening slightly behind her round frames. It seems she didn't expect the trash student to be so observant during the chaos. He casually mentions that it's just like playing a video game where checking the guide is essential. Gu Zioyu simply stares back, clearly not the type to waste time on gaming. The dude analyzes the enemy's weaknesses, noting their low F-rank stats and fragile defenses. He realizes the key to victory is simply overcoming fear and targeting the back of their heads. He tells her the mission isn't actually that difficult if they stay calm. Looking at the trembling students nearby, he sighs, knowing fear is the real enemy holding everyone back. One of the girls is shivering uncontrollably, completely paralyzed by the horror of the simulation. Without courage, these students have zero chance of surviving the next wave of goblin attacks. With the protection timer ticking down to 0, the duo prepares to head out. They both agree that hiding forever won't help them secure the credits they need to survive. Their path is suddenly blocked by a massive student with a permanent scowl on his face. Wang Dalin looks ready to assert his dominance over anyone he considers weaker than himself. This meathead ignores the protagonist entirely, demanding that Gu Xiaoyu team up with him instead. He rudely calls Xiao Lin dead weight, convinced that raw stats are the only thing that matters. Gu Xiaoyu doesn't look interested in his offer, pointing out that the real challenge and rewards lie with the boss. She's already looking past the basic mission toward the Goblin King. Wang Dalin snaps at her, calling the boss an optional mission that hasn't even appeared yet. He thinks she's being delusional for wanting to fight something that hasn't even spawned. Xiao Lin speaks up, explaining that boss spawns usually have specific trigger mechanisms in these simulations. He's treating this whole life-or-death situation like a meticulous strategy guide for a game. Gu Xiaoyu follows his logic, ruling out time and student counts as potential triggers. They both agree that the most likely catalyst for the boss appearing is the number of kills. Our boy explains that clearing out enough mobs will force the Goblin King to spawn. While the rest of the group is shaking, he's already busy planning out the big boss fight. This archer girl is terrified at the thought of facing a king. She thinks the regular goblins are bad enough, but our boy is about to give them all a reality check. Xiao Lin reminds everyone that there's no penalty for failing, but the rewards for winning are massive. He tells them that just running away now would be a huge waste of potential. Our boy asks the group if they really think they'll get another zero-risk chance like this once they're officially enrolled. He encourages them to go all out and earn those extra credits. The other students start to realize he's right. They don't have a choice anyway since the cave's protection is about to expire, making it a perfect time to risk everything for survival. Suddenly, Wang Dalin snaps, yelling at the group for even listening to a weakling. He starts bragging about his initial stats being 32, claiming he's the one who will actually carry them. Gu Xiaoyu isn't impressed at all, bluntly stating that 32 points is only slightly better than a normal person. She asks the arrogant bully exactly how high his stats are supposed to be. Pushing up her glasses, she calmly reveals her own score of 46 points. The revelation immediately shuts everyone up as they process the massive gap between her and the rest of the class. This girl doesn't hold back, telling Wang Dalin to kindly shut his mouth. She stands tall with her magic staff, clearly asserting her position as the most powerful person in the group. The bully is completely speechless, breaking out into a cold sweat. Even the other students are shocked to learn her stats are more than 5 times higher than their own pathetic scores. Xiao Lin is genuinely surprised, realizing her total points are even higher than he originally calculated. He stares at her in awe, finally understanding the true power of a genius-level freshman. Gu Xiaoyu takes charge, ordering anyone who wants to pass and get bonus rewards to follow her lead. She emphasizes that working together is the only way to finish their missions efficiently. She assigns Wang Dalin the role of the tank, telling him to draw the goblin's aggro in the front. Despite his earlier arrogance, he can only grumble and agree to her plan. The archer girl and other ranged users are told to provide support from the back. They form simple 3-person squads, preparing to take down as many goblins as they can possibly find. Turning to the protagonist, she waits to hear his role in her strategic formation. Gu Xiaoyu seems curious to see how a trash student plans to contribute to the upcoming boss fight. Xiao Lin offers to handle roaming and interference, picking off any low-health monsters that try to run away. He knows his stats are too low for a direct head-on confrontation right now. With a solid plan in place, the group finally steps out of the cave together. They're no longer a panicked mob, but a somewhat organized team ready to hunt some goblins for credits. Wang Dalin leads the charge, letting out a roar as he swings his massive blade at the first monster he sees. He's eager to prove he isn't completely useless despite his stats. The archer girl fires her first shot, her hands still trembling as she aims for the green creeps. She's determined to help the group after being saved by Xiao Lin earlier in the trial. A pack of goblins rushes toward them with terrifying speed, their glowing eyes fixed on the new targets. The students grit their teeth, knowing they can't afford to let their formation break now. One of the monsters leaps through the air, aiming its sharp claws directly at the archer girl's face. She screams in terror, unable to move out of the way of the sudden attack. In a flash, Xiao Lin intervenes with a powerful strike, his eye glowing with intense focus. He's perfectly timed his movements to intercept the beast before it can land its lethal blow. With a single, clean slash, our boy takes down his first target of the mission. The system interface pops up to confirm his kill, boosting his confidence as the battle truly begins. The archer girl thanks him breathlessly, but Zio Lin tells her not to get distracted yet. He reminds himself to conserve stamina and only look for perfect opportunities to land killing blows. He moves like a blur, slashing through another goblin as the kill counter ticks up to 2. Every movement he makes is precise, minimizing wasted effort while maximizing the damage he deals. This guy hits 3 kills, dropping another monster with a clean strike. He's totally in the zone now, exploiting their blind spots exactly like he planned from the very beginning. That's 4 in record time. Our boy is proving that brains can actually beat raw stats, and his efficiency is finally starting to draw some serious attention from the crowd. The other students are starting to notice how efficiently the protagonist is fighting. While some wonder how he can be so precise with such low stats, Wang Dalin just scoffs, calling it nothing but pure luck. Gu Xiaoyu is far more observant, realizing that our boy's movements are actually calculated. She notes that he's intentionally dodging the monster's line of sight and predicting their every move before they even strike. Zio Lin takes a brief moment to catch his breath as his training finally yields results. The system confirms he's earned enough experience to level up his sword mastery, reaching level 2 in record time. He remembers the 2 months he spent grinding in a VR simulator before coming to the academy. All those hours of repetitive practice were worth it, giving him the precision he needs to survive this trial. A new prompt appears on his system interface, signaling that his progress hasn't gone unnoticed. He's reached a significant milestone that the Academy's automated tracking system is now preparing to acknowledge with a special reward. The system completes a database scan and announces that he's the first freshman in this batch to level up a skill. As a reward for his dedication, he's granted a free skill suited to his current capabilities. A purple aura erupts around him as the heavy slash skill is officially unlocked. Even with his low base stats, having an active combat skill gives him a much-needed increase in lethality against the green pests. The skill requires 11 points of strength and allows him to unleash a massive, concentrated strike. However, the system warns him that using it repeatedly will drain his limited stamina far too quickly for comfort. Feeling more confident than ever, Zio Lin grins as he realizes he only needs 1 more kill. He's determined to complete his first optional mission and secure those extra credits before the situation gets even worse. He lunges forward, his blade glowing with energy as he delivers a finishing blow to a nearby monster. Every strike he makes is efficient, focused on ending the fight as quickly and cleanly as possible. With the final goblin down, the system announces that he's officially completed his first optional mission. His strategy of focusing on technical mastery over raw power is already paying off better than anyone expected. Zio Lin relaxes slightly, resting his sword on his shoulder as he celebrates his first major success. Suddenly, a strange, static sound fills the air, signaling that the simulation is about to enter its next phase. The remaining goblins begin to vanish into blue pixels right in front of the confused students. Even the arrogant Wang Dalin is left bewildered, unable to understand why their targets are suddenly disappearing into thin air. The bully yells in frustration, demanding to know what's happening as the glitches in the simulation grow louder. It's clear that the trial is no longer following the standard patterns they were briefed on earlier. A system announcement blares across the field, stating that a hidden condition has been met now that the population is reduced. The freshmen freeze in terror as they realize they've accidentally triggered the boss. Birds scatter from the forest canopy as a massive shadow looms over the trees, casting the entire area into darkness. The arrival of the Goblin King is preceded by an overwhelming aura of pure malice. Zio Lin stands his ground, looking up at the towering monstrosity that stepped out into the clearing. The real battle for survival is about to begin as the king prepares to crush the tiny intruders. Just when things couldn't get worse, the Goblin King made his entrance. This towering behemoth loomed over the freshmen, his glowing yellow eyes locking onto his next targets with pure hunger. He let out a bone-chilling roar that shook the very ground. The sheer pressure of his aura felt like a physical weight, pinning the terrified students where they stood in shock. The resulting shockwave was so intense that the students had to cover their ears. It felt like their eardrums were on the verge of bursting from the sheer volume of it. This archer girl gritted her teeth, barely able to keep her balance amidst the chaos. The power gap between them and this boss was clearly on a whole different level. Xiao Lin and Gu Xiaoyu stood firm, their eyes fixed on the massive threat ahead. Even with her superior stats, this girl looked visibly shaken by the monster's overwhelming presence. A system window popped up, confirming their worst fears. This wasn't just another mob, it was the dungeon boss, the Goblin King, with a massive health bar to match his size. His face was a mask of pure malice, framed by massive horns and sharp tusks. One look into those glowing eyes was enough to tell anyone they were in deep trouble. Xiao Lin noticed something strange. All the other goblins had vanished into digital pixels. The boss was clearing the stage, and now it was just them against the king in this arena. The students stared in horror at the massive HP bar hovering above the monster. It was longer than their own lifespans, making victory seem like an impossible dream for this class. One student completely lost his cool and bolted, shouting that he was out. Xiao Lin tried to stop him, but the guy was too consumed by panic to even listen. Our boy quickly analyzed the situation, noticing a critical trait of these monsters. Their field of vision was narrow, meaning there was a slight chance to exploit their blind spots. However, that advantage was balanced out by their incredible sense of smell and hearing. These weren't just dumb beasts, they were apex predators designed to hunt down any intruders they found. The coward's frantic movements immediately drew the Goblin King's aggro. The giant loomed over him, preparing to turn the fleeing student into a permanent part of the dungeon's blood-soaked floor. Right then, Wang Dalin stepped up, trying to rally the group with his typical bravado. He shouted for everyone to stop being afraid and just overwhelm the beast with numbers. Feeling cocky, the muscular student charged forward with his sword raised high. He aimed a heavy blow at the boss, thinking his high stats would be enough to secure a win. But the Goblin King's glowing eye tracked his every move with terrifying precision. The monster wasn't even bothered by the tiny human's attempt at an attack, simply waiting for the moment. In a flash of movement, the boss landed a brutal kick right into the dude's stomach. The impact was sickeningly loud, completely cutting off Wang Dalin's aggressive and reckless charge. A massive shockwave erupted from the point of contact, tearing through the air. The sheer force behind that single strike was enough to shake the entire forest to its roots. Wang Dalin let out a choked cry as he was sent tumbling backward. His sword slipped from his grip, useless against the overwhelming power of the dungeon's terrifying master. As he hit the ground, his body began to dissolve into blue digital pixels. This guy was out of the trial, leaving the rest of the class even more vulnerable. Panic spread like wildfire as the students realized their strongest fighter was gone in a single hit. They began to scatter, screaming for their lives as the formation completely collapsed. The Goblin King let out another deafening roar, clearly enjoying the chaos. He lunged at another group of terrified students, determined to finish what he started with this fresh batch. With one massive foot, the monster crushed another student into the earth. There was no mercy here. The simulation was proving to be a brutal lesson in true survival. The green giant swung his massive club, sending students flying like ragdolls. It was a total slaughter, and no one seemed strong enough to stop this monster's rampage. Even the top archer girl got caught in the blast, her body being tossed aside by the force. The whole trial was quickly turning into a total nightmare. The Goblin King towers over the archer girl, his massive frame casting a shadow of certain death. Trapped on the ground, the student can only stare in sheer terror as the monster prepares to deliver the final blow. Right at that moment, an eerie purple blast strikes the boss's arm. The sudden attack catches the boss off guard, leaving it with an expression that is anything but happy. Watching the system from afar, the boss's massive health bar remains a spine-chilling sight. The lucky archer scrambles to her feet, desperately trying to retreat out of the monster's reach before it's too late. Gu Xiaoyu grits her teeth in frustration after her magic only manages to hit its arm. She realizes that no matter how high her stats are, landing a decisive blow on a giant that moves this fast is nearly impossible. She quickly analyzed the mechanics of the fight, noting that hitting the monster's limbs wouldn't do much damage. To truly take it down, she needed to land a direct hit on its vitals. The girl's mind raced back to her original strategy. She had hoped the others would tank the damage while she provided cover, but reality was proving to be far more brutal. The formation had completely collapsed as the other students fled for their lives. Gu Zioyu was left alone on the battlefield, facing the full, terrifying might of the Goblin King by herself. With every heavy footstep, the monster drew closer to the cornered student. Her plan had been way too idealistic, and now she was paying the price for underestimating the dungeon's true difficulty. The Goblin King raised his massive club, his yellow eyes glowing with a predatory hunger. Gu Zioyu stood her ground, but her trembling hands betrayed the sheer terror she was currently feeling. Just as the blow was about to land, Zio Lin's voice rang out across the field. He screamed for her to run, refusing to let the class's star student get crushed like a bug. Our boy didn't just shout, he leaped into action with his eyes glowing with a mysterious blue light. He was moving faster than ever, ready to intercept the boss's lethal and crushing attack. The Goblin King let out a deafening roar, clearly annoyed by the tiny human's interference. He gnashed his teeth and swung his club, determined to sweep away anyone who stood against him. Zio Lin's sword clashed against the monster's weapon, sending sparks flying everywhere. He wasn't trying to overpower the beast, he was simply buying time for Gu Zioyu to escape the kill zone. As he landed, Zio Lin quickly explained the boss's behavior to the others. He had realized that the king's attack pattern prioritized whichever target was currently closest to its massive body. He took command, shouting tactical orders to the scattered students. He told them to stop panicking and focus on kiting the monster to create a brief opening for a coordinated counterattack. Hearing his firm voice, the archer girl finally managed to pull herself together. She nodded, promising to try her best to draw the beast's attention and keep it busy for a while. Zio Lin then turned to Gu Zioyu, telling her to use her high attack power to chip away at the monster's health. They finally had a real plan to survive this simulation. The two girls coordinated their attacks, with the archer preparing her bow and Gu Zioyu channeling her magic. For the first time, there was a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. A barrage of arrows and magical blasts slammed into the Goblin King's chest. His health bar finally started to move, proving that the giant was indeed mortal and could be defeated. As the monster's club slammed harmlessly into the ground, the archer girl let out a cheer. It actually seemed like their teamwork was starting to work against the overwhelming power of the boss. Zio Lin urged them to keep up the pressure, knowing they couldn't afford to let the beast recover. They had found a rhythm, but the fight was still far from over. Enraged by the persistent attacks, the Goblin King let out another terrifying roar. He wasn't just a mindless monster, he was a king, and he wasn't about to be brought down easily. The behemoth raised his massive fists, gathering his strength for a devastating ground slam. The air around him seemed to vibrate with pure, destructive energy as he prepared his most powerful move. The boss slammed the ground, sending a massive shockwave ripping through the dirt. Debris flew everywhere as the impact tore the earth apart, completely shattering their formation in an instant. Zio Lin tried to shout a warning, but he was too slow. The blast caught the archer girl full force, sending her flying as the rest of the team got wiped out. The Goblin King stood tall, a massive green mountain of muscle and malice. With his long black braids and glowing yellow eyes, he looked ready to crush anyone left on the battlefield. Now only Zio Lin and Gu Zioyu remained to face the boss. They stood side by side amidst the ruins of their formation, two freshmen against a monster that had just decimated their entire class. Gu Zioyu looked at our boy, her voice trembling slightly as she asked if they actually had a chance. With everyone else gone, the odds of winning seemed almost non-existent to her. Zio Lin didn't panic, though he almost used gamer terms by accident. He asked how much mental power she had left, needing to know exactly how many energy orbs she could still fire. This girl gripped her staff tight, admitting she could only manage 2 more shots at most. It wasn't much, but in a life-or-death situation like this, it would have to be enough. He told her that hitting the head deals critical damage, but she worried about the beast's speed. Accuracy was a major issue when their target was moving like a blur of green fury. Zio Lin just smirked, his eyes narrowing with a newfound confidence. If the monster was too fast to hit, he would simply find a way to lock it down and make it stay still. Right then, he activated his hidden talent, Academic Prodigy. His eyes began to glow with an intense blue light as the system interface appeared, signaling that he was finally playing for real. The system scanned the boss, detecting its signature shockwave skill. This F-rank ability dealt massive impact damage and could stun anyone within range for a full 3 seconds, making it incredibly dangerous. He thought back to his past, remembering how everyone used to call him a worthless loser. Back then, his unique talent was seen as completely useless, but everything was about to change. With dark energy swirling around him, Zio Lin declared that this was finally his battlefield. He wasn't just some trash freshman anymore. He was a tactical genius with a world-breaking ability. The system chimed with a successful copy of the Goblin King's shockwave skill. With the boss's own power now at his disposal, our boy prepared to turn the tide of this encounter. Zio Lin watches the Goblin King with a cold, blue light in his eyes. He's not just looking for an opening, he's analyzing the boss's every movement with a gamer's precision. The giant monster raises its arms, gathering massive energy for a shockwave attack. Zio Lin doesn't flinch, charging straight toward the danger as the ground begins to crack. He calculates the timing perfectly, knowing the Goblin King's height makes its wind-up slower than his own. Since he copied the skill earlier, he's confident his version will activate first. A system window flickers to life as Zio Lin triggers the copy shockwave skill. His pupils dilate, focusing entirely on the point where he needs to strike to disrupt the boss. The two forces collide midair in a spray of sparks. Zio Lin's blade meets the Goblin King's brute strength, the impact sending vibrations right up his arms. A massive explosion of light erupts as the interruption succeeds. The Goblin King is caught off guard, its own energy backfiring and sending it reeling. The monster roars in frustration, its body glowing with residual energy as it stumbles back. Its massive frame is momentarily defenseless, creating the opening Zio Lin was looking for. Zio Lin jams his sword into the ground to steady himself against the aftershocks. He's panting, the strain of using such a high-level skill clearly taking a toll on his body. He catches his breath for a split second, satisfied that his line of thinking was correct. His mind is already racing through the numbers, keeping track of every strategic advantage. The Goblin King recovers faster than expected, preparing for another strike. Zio Lin glances at his HUD. The shockwave skill has a 30-second cooldown, and he's still 22 seconds away. The air crackles with purple lightning as the boss prepares a devastating follow-up. A blast of energy ripples through the area, forcing the freshmen to stay on their toes. Gu Zioyu stands in the distance, her staff radiating intense power. The Goblin King is being relentlessly bombarded by streaks of magical lightning, as its health bar continues to be steadily chipped away. Even so, she still couldn't believe it, wondering how someone with stats as low as Zio Lin's could possibly interrupt a boss's skill like that. She was also nearing her absolute limit, struggling to keep her staff steady for one final shot. The Goblin King's health bar is dangerously low, and it's getting desperate. It prepares to bring its massive weight down on the persistent freshman who keeps getting in its way. The boss lifts a giant boulder, ready to crush everything in its path. Zio Lin is cornered, and his skill cooldown is still stuck at 16 seconds. Seeing no way to dodge, he grits his teeth and decides to tank the hit. He isn't planning to run, he's planning to survive by any means necessary. The boulder smashes down, but Zio Lin holds his ground, using whatever mana he has left to buffer the impact. Digitized shards of energy spray everywhere as he takes the blow head-on. Gu Zioyu screams his name, watching as dust and debris swallow him whole. She's terrified that he didn't make it out of that impact. The smoke begins to thin, revealing the Goblin King standing over the impact zone. It looks victorious for a split second as it surveys the damage. Zio Lin emerges from the cloud, battered and with a shredded sleeve, but still standing. He signals that he's fine, even as the cooldown timer slowly ticks down to 10 seconds. The boss raises its fists for another shockwave, but Zio Lin realizes he's drifted too far away. If he doesn't close the gap, the skill won't interrupt the attack. He breaks into a desperate sprint, sliding directly under the monster's center of gravity. He's got 3 seconds left on the clock before he can strike. He grips his hilt with both hands, the steel vibrating as the skill recharges. It's a gamble that needs to pay off right now. The cooldown hits 0, and Zio Lin unleashes the shockwave at point-blank range. Purple energy flares up, successfully stopping the Goblin King's final desperate attack. The system confirms the activation of copy shockwave once again. The air around them shatters from the force of the point-blank collision. Zyro Lin yells out to Gu Zioyu, telling her to take the shot while the boss is stunned and wide open. Gu Zioyu doesn't hesitate, channeling every last bit of her magic into her staff. A brilliant beam of light pierces through the air, heading straight for the boss. The attack hits home, and the Goblin King's health bar finally bottoms out. The monster begins to dissolve into blue pixels, its reign of terror over. A series of notifications flood Zyro Lin's vision. The boss is dead, and the optional mission is complete. He stands amidst the digital remains, finally able to let go of the tension. His strength gives out and his sword clatters to the ground. The adrenaline is fading fast, leaving only total exhaustion. Zyro Lin takes a moment to process the win as Gu Zioyu approaches. They actually manage to take down the final boss of the tutorial. He collapses onto the grass, completely spent. His vision starts to blur from the sheer exhaustion of the fight. Gu Zioyu looks down at him, her expression a mix of concern and awe. Zyro Lin realizes he won't be able to finish the final mission in this state. The scene shifts to a high-tech briefing room inside the academy. A group of staff members are gathered around a table, reviewing the latest enrollment data. The Minister of Admissions takes a long drag from his cigarette, looking over the freshman test results. He's ready to give his final summary of this year's intake. He notes that 1,360 students have been enrolled across 12 classes. The breakdown shows a wide range of rankings, with over half the students starting at rank F. But the real shock comes next. This year, a total of 15 students achieved the prestigious S-rank evaluation. It's an unusually high number for a single batch. The news sends a ripple of excitement through the room. The instructors can't believe they've landed such a fierce batch of freshmen this year. Wang Dalin leans back with a smug grin, bragging that his class produced 2 of those talented students. An instructor sitting nearby notes that her class has 2 as well, but they only reached B rank. The minister puts out his cigarette, confirming the presence of 13 high-tier, talented students among the group. He thanks everyone for their hard work during the recruitment. Qiu Chuan instructor rests his head on his hand, looking disappointed. It seems his class didn't produce a single standout talent this time around. The minister turns to Qin Chuan, noting that while Class 7 didn't reach the safe zone, they did manage to set 2 school history records. Qin Chuan looks surprised, wondering what kind of records those could be. The Minister of Admissions continues, holding up a finger to drive his point home. He explains that it's unheard of for a single class to produce 2 S-rank students who don't even possess inherent talents. He gestures to the holographic screens behind him, displaying the statistics for Class 7. He reveals the first record. One of those students has broken the highest intelligence stat record for a freshman in the history of the academy. Qin Chuan looks on in total disbelief as the second record is mentioned. It's the polar opposite, the lowest comprehensive stat record ever recorded for a new student in school history. The minister notes that these 2 records belong to the same 2 students who earned those S-rank evaluations. This anomaly is so intriguing that even the principal has taken a personal interest in them. Back in the academy halls, the teleportation is complete. Zyro Lin stands among the other survivors, feeling his body instantly heal as his digitized wounds vanish into thin air. His system interface updates with the final mission results. He's officially cleared all 3 tutorial objectives, earning a comprehensive S-rank along with 40 credits and 800 exchange points. Zyro Lin stares at the screen, still a bit dazed from the fight. He clearly remembers blacking out, yet the system shows he somehow completed the first mission of reaching the safe zone. He catches a glimpse of Gu Zioyu walking past, surrounded by a faint blue digital glow. He wonders if she was the one who carried him to safety after he collapsed in the cave. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out his name from down the hall. A student he helped during the goblin attack comes running toward him, her face lit up with relief. She thanks him and Gu Zioyu profusely, knowing she wouldn't have secured an A-rank evaluation without their help. She's clearly grateful to have made it through the ordeal. The girl looks down humbly, admitting she felt useless when she was knocked out by the shockwave's aftereffects. She's desperate to know if they actually managed to kill the Goblin King after she went down. Zyro Lin gives her a small, confident smile and confirms that they finished the job. The girl is overjoyed, her faith in their abilities fully rewarded. A sharp grunt from nearby kills the mood. Wang Dalin stands there, looking thoroughly annoyed by Xiao Lin's presence and success. He scoffs, attributing Xiao Lin's survival to nothing more than dumb luck. In his eyes, someone with such garbage stats would have died hundreds of times if they hadn't clung to Gu Xiaoyu's coattails. He shuts his mouth the moment Gu Xiaoyu herself approaches. She walks past him with her usual cold composure, her eyes fixed solely on Xiao Lin. Gu Xiaoyu stops in front of Xiao Lin and adjusts her glasses. She tells him directly that she needs to speak with him alone about the battle they just finished. They move to a quiet corner of the hallway, away from the prying eyes of the other students. The atmosphere between them is quiet but heavy with unsaid questions. Gu Xiaoyu starts by thanking him for his help in the safe zone. Xiao Lin brushes it off with a casual smile, saying it was just a mutually beneficial move to maximize their rewards. She pushes her glasses up, looking him straight in the eye. She knows the truth. Without him interrupting the Goblin King's skill, she never would have found the opening for the final blow. Xiao Lin goes quiet, realizing just how perceptive she is. He can see her mental gears turning, calculating every detail of his performance during the fight. She points out that based on his stat values, it should have been theoretically impossible for him to interrupt a boss like that. She acknowledges he has secrets, but promises to keep them for him if anyone asks. Xiao Lin rubs the back of his neck, offering a sincere thank you. He's relieved she isn't planning to pry into his hidden talent or how he pulled off those moves. Gu Xiaoyu pulls out a nameplate and suggests they add each other as friends. She explains that the smart brain system built into the plates has a convenient communication function. Xiao Lin agrees, and she begins to guide him through the process. She tells him to silently recite the words "smart brain" to pull up his personal interface. He follows her instructions, focusing on the command. Blue digital particles begin to swirl around him as the system responds to his thought. His basic info screen appears, showing his current stats and resources. He's sitting on a decent pile of points, but his attributes are still painfully low across the board. Gu Xiaoyu asks for his student ID to send the request. He glances at his panel and reads out his identification number for her. A friend request notification pops up on his screen a moment later. It's from Gu Xiaoyu, waiting for his confirmation to link their accounts. He taps the accept button, and the system confirms the new connection. It seems he's officially made his first ally in this strange new world. Suddenly, a loud, booming voice echoes through the hall. Qin Chuan stands there with his arms crossed, ordering everyone with an F-rank evaluation to assemble at the entrance immediately. He doesn't go easy on the rest of the students either, telling them to stop standing around. He commands everyone else to open their map navigation and head straight to the central playground. Qin Chuan scans the crowd with a sharp gaze, making sure no one is lagging behind. Xiao Lin and Gu Xiaoyu exchange a quick look as they prepare to move. Xiao Lin gives a short nod and starts walking toward the exit. He's curious about what the academy has planned for them now that the tutorial phase is over. As he walks, Xiao Lin opens his holographic map. He notes that to get to the playground from the public classroom area, they'll have to cut through the courtyard. He steals a glance at Qin Chuan in the distance, wondering about the instructor's motives. He can't tell if Qin Chuan was looking for Gu Xiaoyu because of her S-rank, or if he's noticed something about Xiao Lin's performance. They emerge into the sunlight, facing a massive stadium and playground area. Thousands of students are already gathering on the green field under the bright sky. Xiao Lin looks around at the growing crowd, feeling a bit overwhelmed by the sheer number of people. He wonders if having so many people missing from the real world at once will cause some kind of massive commotion. Gu Xiaoyu catches up to him and asks if he's doing okay. He realizes he might have been lost in his own thoughts for a second too long. A voice shouts for everyone to make way, cutting through the chatter. The crowd begins to part as the upperclassmen start to organize the massive assembly. A young man with blue hair leads the way, his expression calm and professional. He instructs the students to stand in their class formations and avoid crowding together. He steps up to a podium, flanked by other high-ranking staff members. A floating blue crystal orbits the stage, casting a soft light over the assembly. He introduces himself with a polite smile as the Student Council President of the Academy. He's the one officially welcoming the new freshmen to their first formal ceremony. Students gather on the playground as a voice announcement echoes through the area. The principal is running late, so the ceremony is starting without him. Suddenly, a thunderous roar shakes the entire academy, drowning out the announcement. Zio Lin looks up, his sharp eyes narrowing as he senses something massive approaching. The crowd erupts in confusion, students pointing and shouting as the sound grows louder. Everyone is on edge, wondering what could make such a terrifying noise. A gigantic purple dragon descends from the heavens, its massive wings casting a dark shadow over the terrified freshmen. It's a literal beast from legend appearing right before their eyes. Zio Lin's eyes go wide in disbelief as he stares at the creature. He's stunned to see a real dragon in the flesh, a far cry from anything in his old world. The dragon opens its maw, letting out another bone-rattling roar. Its glowing eyes and sharp teeth make it look like a predator that could wipe them all out in an instant. The sheer presence of the beast is paralyzing. Zio Lin finds himself unable to take a single step, his body frozen by a deep physiological fear. Beside him, even the brilliant Gu Zioyu is visibly shaking, her usual composed demeanor shattered. She stands stiffly, her eyes wide with the same instinctive terror gripping everyone else. The dragon lands with a heavy thud near the staff desk, whipping up a fierce wind. Perched calmly on its back is an elderly man with long white hair and a flowing beard. He hops down with a casual smile, apologizing for the delay. He mentions he had to handle a few things on the way, as if riding a dragon was just a normal commute. This is the principal of Dawn Academy, an imposing figure in gray and purple robes. He carries a large staff with glowing purple orbs, radiating an aura of immense power. The student council president, a blue-haired young man in a vest, greets him with a nervous look. He politely mentions that the principal's entrance was a bit too grand for a simple ceremony. The principal just scoffs at the comment, retorting that he didn't ride the big lizard just to show off. He clearly has no patience for the president's formalities. He explains that he was in a rush and riding the dragon was the only way to get back in time. The beast behind him looks slightly annoyed as the principal talks about it like a common taxi. He even threatens to skin the dragon for a sofa if it scares the students again. The dragon lets out a small, cowed puff of smoke, clearly terrified of the old man. Zio Lin watches the exchange, realizing this man is the only one with the authority to see his hidden talent. He knows he has to be extremely careful around someone this powerful. Turning to the crowd, the principal notes that he's seen the entrance test results and admits this batch of freshmen is actually quite good. His sharp blue eyes sweep across the students, as if he's peering directly into their souls. It's a gaze that feels like it's searching for something specific. Zio Lin feels the weight of that stare and tenses up, his analytical mind already trying to figure out the man's angle. The principal slams the base of his staff into the ground, activating an amplification spell. A magical circle glows beneath him as his power pulses through the air. He decides to skip the formalities and his own name, figuring that the students have more pressing things on their minds. He acknowledges that many of them were invited, here under baffling or even unpleasant circumstances. He knows they're probably feeling pretty bitter about the whole thing. He tells them to take their complaints to the admissions department for delivering letters at such ungodly hours. He points a finger at a sweating staff member who can only offer a weak salute. The freshmen look around, some still processing the old man's blunt honesty, while others just look relieved the dragon isn't eating them. Suddenly, the principal's tone shifts, becoming cold and serious. He tells them it's time to drop the jokes and face reality. Raising his arms, he declares their true role to the world. They aren't just students anymore, they are colonists. He reveals the name of their new world, Planet Norma. Behind him, images of exotic beasts and vast, uncharted lands appear in the sky. He explains that the sole purpose of Dawn Academy is to train the most outstanding pioneer colonists for this new world. Monstrous creatures loom in the background as he speaks, a grim reminder of the dangers they will soon face. He makes it clear that their ordinary lives ended the very moment they opened their admission letters. There is no going back to the way things were. He tells them that starting today, some might become great generals, commanding legions and conquering vast new lands. Others might rise as grand magi, seeking the ultimate truth and wielding the very laws of magic. He even suggests some might become the leaders and kings who forge the rules of that new world. The possibilities for power are endless. The promise of strength and immortality has the crowd buzzing with excitement. For many, the treasures of planet Norma represent a chance at a life they never dreamed of. Finally, he announces a new rule that breaks long-standing tradition. Usually, freshmen are strictly forbidden from entering the new world, but the top 3 students in the upcoming exam will earn the right to go early. The principal's gaze becomes incredibly heavy, emphasizing the gravity of this decision. This is a shortcut to power, but also a massive risk. The student council president tries to interject, worried about the safety of the freshmen, but he quickly mumbles that he misspoke under the principal's glare. With the new rule established, the principal dismisses the assembly, telling them he's done with the nonsense. The president can only bow and follow him out. Zio Lin stays behind, deep in thought about the president's extreme reaction. He suspects the early entry reward is much more dangerous than the principal let on. As the crowd thins out, a voice calls out to him. It's a familiar, authoritative tone that catches his attention. He turns to see instructor Chin Chuan standing there, looking as rough and intimidating as ever. Zio Lin wonders what the instructor could possibly want with the student with the lowest stats in school. Chin Chuan explains the situation. Since the top student Gu Zioyu refused, the monitor position for Class 7 falls to the next person in line, Zio Lin. He tells Zio Lin to pay attention, because being a monitor comes with major perks like extra credits, resource quotas, and special privileges. A holographic notification confirms the appointment as Chin Chuan points out that, for a deadweight like him, this position is a vital lifeline. The instructor waves him off, saying the AI will send over the freshman manual, and he should just figure it out on his own. Zio Lin stands alone on the field, the word privileges echoing in his head as he wonders exactly what kind of door this has opened for him. He heads over to the student dormitories, a massive residential complex where he'll be living during his time at Dawn Academy. At the reception desk, a sophomore with short brown hair named Zhang Tingting is busy explaining the strict nighttime rules to the newcomers. She gives Zio Lin a cold, dismissive look as he approaches, clearly seeing him as just another typical freshman. However, her eyes instantly sparkle with excitement when she checks his ID and realizes he's actually the class monitor. She does a complete 180, patting his shoulder and insisting that anyone who manages to snag a monitor spot must be extraordinary. Zio Lin watches as she hands over his new uniforms, explaining that his grade is represented by the green fabric. She takes him up to his room, a single dorm exclusive to monitors, while pointing out that everyone else has to share a double. She hands him his gold ID tag, warning him not to lose it since it's used for everything from the curfew to class attendance. Tingting winks and offers to be his mentor, telling him to hit her up whenever he has questions about his new life at school. As she waves goodbye, Zio Lin can't help but notice how much friendlier she became the second she heard about his monitor status. He settles into his room, fully realizing that in this academy, power and rank dictate how everyone treats you. He decides it's time to get to work and summons his holographic course schedule to start planning his curriculum. A massive list of courses appears, ranging from basic swordsmanship to the geography and languages of the New World. Zio Lin stares at the interface, his jaw dropping at the sheer number of classes he's expected to handle. He breaks into a cold sweat, realizing that even with the required courses, he still needs to pick 4 more attribute-based classes. He forces himself to calm down, reminding himself that while the workload is insane, his hidden prodigy talent makes it possible. He knows his weak attributes are a fatal liability, so his only option is to improve them as fast as humanly possible. The 100% boost to learning efficiency from prodigy is his trump card, and he knows he can't afford to waste a single drop of its potential. He selects basic swordsmanship as his main combat focus, figuring it's the most versatile skill for someone starting with nothing. He rounds out his schedule with physical arts and meditation, aiming to boost both his survivability and his mental focus. The holographic menu lists his final selections, including general history and the common language of Norma. With his course selection confirmed, Zio Lin steels his resolve, knowing that in this academy, strength is the only thing that matters. The next day, Zio Lin is already at the swordsmanship training ground, the rhythmic sounds of wooden blades striking posts echoing through the air. He focuses intently on each swing, watching the experience points for his basic swordsmanship tick up with every hit. His prodigy talent is fully active, highlighting the optimal mechanics of each strike as his learning efficiency doubles. He continues to strike with a relentless rhythm, realizing that as long as he grasps the fundamentals, his progress will only get faster. A system message pops up, confirming he's reached level 3 in swordsmanship and that his strength attribute has already increased from 2 to 3. Zio Lin pauses to catch his breath, realizing that his theory was correct. Leveling up his skills is the most direct way to drive his base attribute growth. Nearby, another freshman collapses on the ground, weeping that he can't take it anymore, and his arms are ready to fall off. A large sword slams into the stone floor as a stern voice mocks the pathetic performance of this year's new students. This is Cheng Na, a third-year student with long purple hair serving as their substitute teacher. She's a strict instructor who demands absolute excellence. She declares that no one is leaving the training ground until their basic swordsmanship proficiency reaches level 3, ignoring the whimpering of a student clinging to a post. The students are in total despair, knowing that reaching level 2 alone usually takes hours of non-stop swinging. Zio Lin walks right up to the intimidating instructor, his expression neutral despite the sweat on his face. He informs her that he's already reached the level 3 requirement and asks for permission to leave for his next class. Cheng Na gives him a skeptical, side-eyed glance, her arms crossed as she sizes up the unassuming freshman. She asks if he's kidding, pointing out that it's only been 2 hours into their very first day of school. Cheng Na towers over Zio Lin, looking down on him with clear disdain. She can't believe a lucky guy with such pathetic stats managed to leech off his team for an S-rank evaluation. Her eyes narrow as she questions his claim of having level 3 swordsmanship. To her, it sounds like a desperate excuse from a freshman just trying to skip her class. Zio Lin doesn't back down, gesturing for her to just check his status panel if she doesn't believe him. He stands his ground despite the instructor's intimidating presence. Cheng Na just smirks, dismissing the idea of looking at boring digital numbers. She has a much more hands-on way of testing a student's true ability. A red system warning flashes across the air, signaling that the instructor is activating high-level teaching permissions. The atmosphere in the arena shifts instantly. The all-system training simulation arena begins to open, digitizing the world around them. Cheng Na stands ready as the ground starts to transform into something much grimmer. Zio Lin is suddenly transported into a dark, purple-hued dimension. He grips his sword tight as a pile of bones begins to stir right in front of him. Cheng Na undergoes a complete transformation, her body encased in sharp bone armor. She wields a massive, glowing, jagged blade that dwarfs Zio Lin's basic weapon. The simulation is fully active now, revealing a vast graveyard filled with a literal mountain of skulls. A massive, rib-like structure looms over the battlefield as the system welcomes them. She explains that this space was built at an astronomical cost to mimic the harsh laws of the normal world. Zio Lin looks small against the jagged, bone-covered horizon. She reassures him that he won't actually die in this simulation, but she doesn't sound very comforting. She stands behind him like a dark shadow. A close-up of her face reveals a cold, predatory look. She warns him that while death isn't permanent here, every bit of pain he feels will be 100% real. Skeletons begin to crawl out of the cracked earth, their purple eyes glowing with malice. Cheng Na watches with a cruel smile, having spent a fortune in points to set this up. She goads him to prove his level 3 swordsmanship in actual combat as a horde of undead soldiers rises behind her. Zio Lin looks back, realizing he's completely surrounded. The instructor takes a seat on a throne of bone, looking down on the chaos. She notes that these skeleton soldiers are about as strong as the goblins he faced in the exam. She offers a carrot with the stick, promising that if he clears this dungeon, he can skip her class today and any time in the future. Zio Lin ducks a massive cleaver just in time. A system window clarifies the stakes: survive for 40 minutes or kill 20 skeletons. Zio Lin grips his sword, his jaw tight as the challenge begins in earnest. Sweat beads on Zio Lin's forehead as he realizes just how insane this instructor is. Throwing a freshman into a dungeon like this just to verify their level is beyond extreme. He checks his gear and finds he's only equipped with a basic iron dagger. His physical attack evaluation is a pathetic rank E, leaving him at a massive disadvantage. The skeletons roar as they lunge forward with rusted blades. Xiao Lin knows he has two ways to win, and neither of them looks easy. Option 1 is to just stall for time, staying on the defensive until the clock runs out. He crouches low, dodging a sweeping attack that clears the ground behind him. Or he can choose violence. He prepares to strike as a skeleton soldier looms over him, rusted sword raised high. He moves with surprising speed, his blade slicing clean through the undead soldier's ribcage. He isn't just defending, he's going on the hunt. A clean decapitation confirms his first kill, and the counter on his screen ticks up to 1. Xiao Lin keeps his focus sharp, already looking for the next target. He does the math as he fends off multiple attackers at once. If he hits their weak points, it'll take 40 precise strikes to reach his goal of 20 kills. Xiao Lin's eyes glow with a blue intensity as he enters his flow state. He's determined to push through the physical gap with pure technique. Chengna watches from her throne, secretly impressed that the kid actually had the guts to charge headlong into the fray. It's not the reaction she expected. She thought he'd be terrified, begging for mercy the moment the skeletons started rising. Instead, he's actually putting up a real fight. She analyzes his every move, noting that his footwork and slashing angles are more than just decent. He knows how to generate force despite his low base stats. Xiao Lin's movements are crisp, his judgment sharp as he weaves through the undead crowd. He strikes with a purple flash, taking down another soldier with surgical precision. Chengna realizes he's a tier above the idiots, who only know how to swing their weapons blindly. He's making up for his trash stats with sheer skill. Xiao Lin is gasping for air, sweat drenching his shirt as the strain begins to take its toll. He's pushing his body past its limits, using every trick he knows to keep going. He's reached 13 solo kills, which is an absolute miracle considering his level. But as he blocks another blow, his arms are shaking visibly. The timer shows 28 minutes left, but Xiao Lin is already at his breaking point. He's surrounded by skeletons, his sword heavy in his hands. A skeleton lands a heavy hit, sending a shock of pain through his shoulder. Xiao Lin grunts, his vision blurring from exhaustion. Chengna stands up abruptly and calls out from her throne, telling him that's enough and he needs to face reality. She thinks he's done more than enough to prove his point. She tells him to just give up and surrender obediently before he gets seriously hurt. Xiao Lin just stares at the ground, leaning heavily on his sword. Suddenly, a system notification flashes. Skill activated, heavy/LV, 1. Xiao Lin's eye snaps open, glowing with a new, dangerous light. He unleashes a massive purple wave of energy that tears through the skeletal front line. The kill count jumps to 16 in a single, devastating explosion of power. Chengna's jaw drops in pure shock as she recognizes the skill he just used. She can't wrap her head around how a freshman could possibly have heavy slash. Xiao Lin becomes a blur of purple steel, the counter ticking up faster than the eye can follow. 17, 18, 19, he's cutting through them like they're made of paper. He drives his blade straight through the final skeleton skull with the last of his strength. The counter hits 20 out of 20, and the dungeon objective is finally complete. Xiao Lin gasps for air, sweat dripping as he finally finds a moment of peace. Behind him, Chengna watches, her expression unreadable under her bone armor helm. "Senior, your requirement?" Xiao Lin huffs out, looking back at her. "I completed it." Chengna stands tall, staring down at the exhausted freshman. She realizes getting an S rank wasn't just luck. This kid actually has the skill to back it up. The scene shifts to the sleek exterior of the student council office. Inside, a green-haired assistant drops a heavy stack of documents onto the desk. The student council president, a calm youth with blue hair, looks up from his work. The assistant points to a specific file, looking worried. She tells the president there's a certain class schedule he really needs to take a look at. A freshman's course selection is very bizarre," she says, holding the folder tight. The president leans back, looking at the name, Xiao Lin. He's stunned to see the freshman has selected every single course available at the academy. The clock strikes 12:04 p.m. at the Dawn Academy Infirmary. Back at the infirmary, Cheng-na is in a heated argument with the president. She snaps that she didn't mean to mess him up, but she had to test him in the middle of class. "Nana, this isn't the first time you've treated freshmen like this," the president says calmly. Cheng-na barks back, asking if he has a problem with her teaching methods. The president sighs, explaining that the new students just enrolled and she doesn't need to be so hardcore. Zio Lin lies unconscious in the hospital bed behind them. Cheng-na stands her ground, arguing that being strict is the only way to prepare them. To her, coddling new students is the real cruelty. The student council president closes his eyes, clearly exhausted by her stubbornness. Cheng-na looks away, her expression softening ever so slightly, though she remains silent. On the bed, Zio Lin's eyes flutter open as he groans in pain. The president leans in, noticing he's finally awake. Cheng-na watches from the foot of the bed, her arms crossed. Zio Lin sits up slowly, looking around the high-tech room. The president welcomes him back, nodding that the academy's infirmary facilities are top-notch. He explains to Zio Lin that full immersion fields are different from normal dungeons. Your stamina and mental energy don't just reset when you leave. The exhaustion follows you back. He folds his hands, telling Zio Lin he passed out from sheer exhaustion. "How do you feel now?" he asks with a gentle smile. Zio Lin stretches his arm, saying he feels much better, though his muscles are still sore. The president tells him to just rest a bit more. The president gives a reassuring look. He then turns to Cheng-na, calling her Nana again and asking her to leave so he can speak with Zio Lin in private. She looks genuinely annoyed. Cheng-na bites her lip, looking like she has a lot more she wants to say. "HMPH, fine, I'll go," she snaps, turning on her heel and heading for the door. Her heavy boots click against the floor as she makes a quick exit. Suddenly, she stops and looks back over her shoulder. "Hey, punk," she shouts, getting Zio Lin's attention. She tells him she's a woman of her word, and that his early leave privilege is officially approved. But her tone turns serious, as she warns him that students who try to train both magic and martial arts never end well. Without another word, she steps out and slams the sliding door shut with a loud bang. Zio Lin watches the closed door, thinking to himself that this senior isn't quite the she-dinosaur monster everyone makes her out to be. The president clears his throat, signaling it's time to get back to business. He asks if Zio Lin read the handbook, which explicitly warns against taking too many courses at once. A digital display shows the physical branch, covering swordsmanship, movement, and general physical training. Another display shows the magic branch, which includes meditation, spells, and perception skills. He admits that dual training gives an edge in the first year, as it allows a student to handle a wider variety of combat situations. But he warns that as the curriculum deepens, each branch splits into hundreds of specialized subpaths. By the second and third years, trying to master both would require 6 or 7 times the effort of a normal student. He compares the courses to a branching tree that splits finer and finer the further you go. Zio Lin simply replies, "I know." Zio Lin looks determined, staring straight ahead. "But I still want to give it a shot," he declares. He clenches his fist, confident that with his top student talent backing him up, he can absolutely pull it off. A holographic screen suddenly pings with a notification. The president looks down to see a new message from the principal. The student council president pauses, staring at the holographic notification with a surprised expression. "All right then, Junior Zio Lin," he says, turning back to the student. "Since the principal has already approved your course selection, I won't harp on it." He explains that the schedule needs re-optimizing, and a new timetable will be ready by tomorrow morning. Zio Lin sits in the infirmary bed, thanking the president for the help. Zio Lin looks down, his brow furrowed with suspicion. He wonders how the principal's message arrived at such a perfectly timed moment. It's as if he's been being watched the entire time. Outside, the sun begins to set over the sprawling, majestic campus of Dawn Academy. In the grand principal's office, a figure in a dark robe stands before a towering, ornate window that looks out over the grounds. The principal, an elderly man with long white hair and a flowing beard, stares out with a weary gaze. A playful voice breaks the silence, asking why he has such a long face. Floating in a cloud of digital particles, the Dawn Academy Central Main Control System, AI, appears as a teenage girl with silver hair and glowing red eyes. She teases the principal, asking him to share his troubles so she can have a good laugh. The principal glances back at the mischievous AI, nodding that she seems to have been influenced by the anime culture of Blue Star lately. The Dawn Academy's central main control system, AI, twirls in the air, her white dress fluttering. She playfully asks if her current look is trending and offers to help recruit more freshmen if it is. The principal turns toward her, his expression stern. He reminds her that as the Academy's central brain, her existence is a secret known only to a select few. The Dawn Academy's central main control system, AI, puffs out her cheeks in a pout, complaining that even after 100 years, the principal remains as boring as ever. She floats up behind him, pointing out that this year's freshman class is exceptionally strong. She mentions the SS rank student and asks why that doesn't make him happy. The principal looks away, explaining that a normal person's total attributes usually average around 10 points. He continues, stating that the Academy's admission baseline is at least 20 points. However, Zio Lin's total stats only add up to 9, making him appear completely ordinary. Talents can only be detected after enrollment, he continues, his voice low and serious. This means that by all accounts, Zio Lin should never have received an admission notice. The Dawn Academy's central main control system, AI, laughs it off, suggesting it might just be a lucky mistake by the admissions department that landed them a genius. The principal turns his back to her, staring out the window once more. He reveals that when he tried to pull the boys' records, he found something truly disturbing. He stands still in the middle of the silent office, the weight of his words hanging in the air. There is no record of Zio Lin's admission in the system at all. Inside the Dawn Academy's high-tech command center, the AI reports that total enrollment stands at 1,360 students. But there's a catch. The central computer only has records for 1,359 admission letters. One is completely missing. The principal is baffled since something like this has never happened in the Academy's history. He asks the main control program what's going on. The AI confirms that 1,360 letters were definitely issued, so the math should be right. Growing suspicious, the principal tells her to pull up Zio Lin's admission letter immediately. The AI gives him a smug look and delivers the bad news. Even as the principal, he doesn't have the security clearance to see that specific file. He's stunned. A simple admission letter is locked away from the head of the school. The AI admits she's just as surprised as he is, but the system's rules are absolute. The principal stares ahead, deep in thought about this mysterious student. He decides to let the matter go for now, realizing some things are better left alone. Instead, he uses his highest authority to encrypt every other freshman's letter to keep the database secure. The AI accepts the command without hesitation. Data streams fly past her as she begins the heavy-duty encryption process. Seconds later, she confirms that all 1,359 accessible letters are now locked under the tightest security. That one remaining file is still untouched, maintaining its own maximum level of protection that no one can crack. The AI looks at him, sensing he's trying to hide the identity of the student that missing letter belongs to. The principal mentions he's headed back to the new world tomorrow. He wants to make sure that while he's gone, nobody gets in the way of Zio Lin's development. He officially leaves the Academy's internal affairs in the AI's hands. The next day in the cafeteria, things are bustling with students grabbing their meals. A senior student named Zhang Tingting spots Zio Lin and recognizes him as the kid who fainted after just one class. Zio Lin is caught off guard, realizing his embarrassing debut has already become campus gossip. Tingting warns him that running into someone like Senior Cheng Na is just pure bad luck. Zio Lin tries to change the subject, asking if only teachers can access the holographic simulation training field. She looks at him like he's crazy and asks if he's even bothered to check his monitor permissions yet. She explains that being a class monitor comes with some pretty serious perks. A digital interface pops up, showing he can manage his classmates' data and status. He also has the power to approve or deny requests for the simulation field from anyone in his class. Even better, as a monitor, he can apply to use the field himself without needing anyone else's okay. Zio Lin finds the button and decides to give it a shot right then and there. Ting Ting tells him to apply for student mode, though she's sure a freshman will just get auto-rejected. Just as she says that, a notification dings on his screen. He actually found the option. Ting Ting literally spits out her drink when she sees the approved message flash across his interface. She's totally floored. Her own monitor had to wait 3 weeks for an approval, yet this kid got it instantly. She warns him that the simulation field is normally sophomore territory and costs a whopping 500 redemption points just to open. Those points only come back if you pass the training, fail, and they're gone for good. Zio Lin realizes the stakes are high. He only has 800 points total, so failure isn't an option. He remembers the principal mentioning that only the top 3 in the upcoming exam get to go to the new world early. Then, the ponytail-haired male teacher, Chin Chuan, didn't forget to remind everyone that the monitor position would be re-elected right after the big exam. He remembered Wang Dalin roaring in contempt, barking that once the election comes around, a weakling like Zio Lin wouldn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of keeping his position. Zio Lin knows the heavy hitters in Class 7, like Gu Zioyu and Wang Dalin, are waiting for their turn to take his spot. He narrows his eyes, determined to grind and get stronger before the re-election exam takes everything away. Zio Lin says his goodbyes to Zhang Tingting, heading off to his next class. Tingting watches him go, impressed by his dedication. She thinks it's no wonder a hard worker like him became the acting monitor. Over at the gym, students are finishing up their workout and heading out for the day. Liang Ziyu, a freshman from Class 6, is fuming. He can't believe someone with such garbage stats was chosen as an acting monitor, calling the decision insane. In a fit of rage, a muscular student nearby completely crushes his water bottle. This is Wang Dalin, and he's just as angry. He insults the counselors, calling them flunkies who couldn't even make it past their first year. He snarls that a counselor's vision must be trash if they're backing someone like Zio Lin. He looks down at the gym floor, calling Zio Lin a poser for staying late for solo training. Wang Dalin isn't just mad at Zio Lin. He's also bitter about Gu Zioyu looking down on him, promising to show her what he's capable of. Liang Ziyu smirks and suggests they don't wait 3 months for the official assessment. He wants to teach Zio Lin a lesson right now. He tells Dalin he has a connection in the disciplinary department and suggests framing Zio Lin for a rule violation to tank his points. Unaware of the plot, Zio Lin is pushing himself to the limit on the treadmill, slowly racking up physical fitness experience. He's sweating buckets, but he's making progress. His basic physical fitness is currently sitting at level 1. He finally stops to catch his breath, noticing it's already almost 7 o'clock. He figures he can just make it back to the dorms before curfew if he leaves now. As he walks toward the exit, he plans to keep up this routine every day until he hits level 2. But when he reaches for the door handle, something's wrong. It won't budge. Multiple clicking sounds echo through the empty gym. The door has been deadbolted from the outside. He stares at the lock in disbelief, wondering if he's really trapped inside. He tries the handle again, thinking the staff was just being careless and didn't bother checking if anyone was still in here. He grumbles about having to sleep in the gym since curfew is coming up fast. Suddenly, a loud snap echoes through the room as the lights completely die. Zio Lin stands frozen in the middle of the pitch-black training room. He tries to stay calm, forcing a laugh and telling himself it's just the power being cut for the night. He shivers in the dark, questioning why a fancy school would cut the power while students might still be around. The night sky over the academy holds a strange secret, 2 crescent moons hanging side by side. Someone's reporting a freshman monitor for breaking curfew. Chen Yu and Han Sen from the discipline department are on the move. Han Sen confirms the tip-off came from Liang Ziyu and insists they need to make an example of the kid. Chen Yu adjusts his glasses, nodding that with the principal and president away, these small-time violations fall squarely on him. He's not planning on being lenient. He wants his department to keep a suffocatingly close watch for any slip-ups. Han Sen is all smiles and flattery, eager to prove his worth to the grade leader. They reach the training ground, ready to start their sweep. Han Sen's smirk widens. He's clearly looking forward to the enforcement part of the job. He figures an acting monitor must have a hoard of redemption points, just waiting to be seized. A door pulls open with a sharp, echoing creak. The gym looks deserted, leaving Han-sen blinking into the dark shadows. Chen-yu asks what's wrong, while Han-sen points a shaking finger into the empty room. He's positive he heard someone scurrying around in here just a moment ago. Zio Lin is pressed flat against the wall, holding his breath as sweat beads on his forehead. Chen-yu isn't buying it. The door was locked from the outside, so nobody could have been inside. Han-sen brushes it off with a nervous laugh, figuring his ears must be playing tricks on him. But as he turned to leave, his face went completely blank. He was utterly seething that his prey had vanished into thin air like magic. Little did he know, while he was frantically searching around, Zio Lin had already slipped away undetected. Outside, the wind rustles through the forest under the pale blue light of the stars. Zio Lin finally lets out a ragged breath, leaning against a tree as he realizes how close he came to getting caught. He knows that being caught out at night means a massive point deduction. It finally clicks. Getting locked in and then having the patrol show up immediately wasn't a coincidence. It was a setup. He wonders if he's overthinking it, or if someone actually has a target on his back. His eyes sharpen as he looks toward the horizon. There they are again, two moons glowing brightly above the tree line. He remembers the lesson about the academy being modeled after Norma World. Now he's seeing it for himself. Returning to the gym is too risky, so he has to find a new place to lay low for the night. A massive, jagged purple head rises from the foliage nearby. A chill runs down his spine as he senses something far larger than any student watching him. A giant, glowing purple eye blinks open, focusing its gaze directly on him. It's the purple dragon, the same beast from the entrance ceremony. Zio Lin freezes, his mind racing as he recognizes the monster. The dragon shifts, its wings casting a massive shadow across the clearing. It stares down at him with an intensity that makes his blood run cold. Flight is the only option. He doesn't wait to find out if it's hungry. He turns and bolts as fast as he can. He glances back, praying he's not about to become a midnight snack. Through the dense trees, he spots the outline of a large building. Desperate for any kind of shelter, he decides to dive inside and hide. He slips through a trellis-covered entrance, the wood creaking under his weight. He stops to catch his breath, hoping the dragon won't follow him into a confined space. A rustling sound comes from the garden nearby. He looks down to see a black bird with glowing red eyes staring back. That's no ordinary chicken. It's not just the birds. The cabbages in this garden are bigger than he is. Nearby, a bush is loaded with glowing red fruit that smells incredibly sweet. He wonders if he should risk a taste. Zio Lin stares down at the bird, wondering if it's as tasty as it looks. It looks plump and delicious. Suddenly, he's really craving some beggar's chicken. But the bird has other plans and lets out a deafening roar. He's barely processed the sound before the chicken literally breathes fire right at his face. Zio Lin scrambles backward, realizing this academy is way more dangerous than he thought. Suddenly, a hand reaches out and snatches the fire breather right by its neck. Zio Lin freezes, looking up at the mysterious newcomer. The man looks tired, holding the limp bird while accusing Zio Lin of trying to steal his livestock in the middle of the night. The two stand in the garden, a tense silence settling between them under the moonlight. Zio Lin gulps and tries to find his voice to ask who this guy even is. The man just scoffs at the question. He introduces himself as Song Junlang, the head of the logistics department, and he's not happy about the intruder. Song Junlang notes that Zio Lin is a freshman who's already managed to break curfew and trespass in his territory. He holds up the traumatized chicken, asking how the kid plans to pay for scaring his dinner. Zio Lin panics, apologizing and explaining he was just trying to hide from the dragon roaming around. To make a long story short, he recounts how he ended up locked in the training grounds earlier. He explains the whole setup, with the patrol showing up while he was trapped inside. And eventually, he ran into the massive, fire-breathing purple dragon. Song Junlang listens before telling him that Big Lizard isn't actually a threat. He casually adds that Zio Lin is way too weak for a dragon to even bother attacking. Zio Lin can't believe the man just called that monster a lizard. As for the training ground incident, Song Junlang says it's a classic trick from the discipline department. Xiao Lin realizes he was set up, while Song Junlang brings up redemption points, the hard currency of the academy. Everything from buying equipment to activating simulation fields requires these points. Even getting resources from the new world costs a fortune. Those points are also the key to whether you can actually graduate or move on to the new world. He explains that the discipline department loves playing entrapment games with unsuspecting students. They set you up to break a rule, then offer a private settlement to keep it quiet. Basically, you hand over a few hundred redemption points as a fine to avoid getting a formal deduction. Xiao Lin is disgusted by the tactic and immediately suspects Wang Dalin is behind his framing. Song Junlang turns his attention back to the junior standing in front of him. Staying out all night and trespassing in the logistics department are serious offenses. Combined, those two rules could cost Xiao Lin a massive amount of points. A loud thump echoes from the gate, catching them both off guard. Song Junlang realizes the discipline department is dead set on catching the rule breaker tonight. He smirks, asking if he should just open the door and let them take him away. Xiao Lin pleads with the senior, hoping he's not just telling him all this to watch him fail. Song Junlang is impressed by the kid's quick thinking and decides he's worth the effort. He suddenly asks Xiao Lin if he knows anything about cooking. Xiao Lin is completely baffled by the question. He stammers out a weak, maybe a little, thinking back to his college days. In reality, his cooking experience is just scrolling through tutorials while eating snacks. He's never actually touched a stove. Song Junlang offers a way out, claiming that as long as Xiao Lin can cook, his standards are actually quite low. He promises to handle the search party outside and ensure Xiao Lin doesn't lose any points, provided the freshman does him a small favor. He's been craving a specific dish called beggar's chicken for ages and wants Xiao Lin to use this very bird to make him a feast. Xiao Lin points to himself, sweating as he realizes he's being tasked with cooking this fire-breathing monster. Song Junlang reminds him that he's trapped anyway, giving him a choice between two very different paths. Either walk out and face the certain punishment and point loss, or stay behind and cook the chicken while Song settles everything. Desperate to save his credits, Xiao Lin puts on a brave face and agrees to the deal. Song Junlang flashes a sinister grin, wanting to make sure it's on the record that this is a completely voluntary act. Xiao Lin agrees enthusiastically, though he can't shake the sinking feeling that he's just signed a deal with the devil. Song points toward the building, telling the freshman to hide inside and stay as quiet as a mouse while he handles the group outside. Xiao Lin hurries off, thanking the senior for the unexpected lifeline. Song Junlang steps out to meet the patrol, greeting them with a casual and irritatingly cheerful shout. He specifically addresses the group's leader, Chen Yu, who looks far from pleased to see him. He asks if the discipline department is so hungry that they've come to the logistics garden looking for a midnight snack. Adjusting his glasses, Chen Yu explains they're investigating reports of abnormal movement from the principal's pet bird. He insults Song for wasting his time with such trivial things late at night, unaware that the pet is currently in a ghostly state of shock. Song Junlang just chuckles, clearly enjoying the confrontation. He dryly asks if they actually managed to find whatever was causing all that abnormal movement. The purple-haired student, Han Sen, snaps back that the discipline department has the authority to patrol every inch of the academy. He adds that they're hunting for a freshman breaking curfew and warns Song that he doesn't have the rank to block their inspection. Song's casual demeanor vanishes, and he stares down Han Sen, calling him a low-level lackey who shouldn't butt in. He threatens to report the group for trespassing if they continue to annoy him, knowing full well the underhanded tactics they usually employ. Chen Yu is seething at the threat, his face contorted with anger. He scoffs, stating that everyone knows Song's actual power level isn't even C-class. He calls the senior a connection hire, who wouldn't even be qualified for the second year if the principal hadn't personally appointed him as a department head. Xiao Lin watches the scene unfold from the shadows, surprised by the blatant disrespect. It's clear to him now that Chen Yu has a massive grudge against Senior Song. The freshman realizes that the internal politics of the academy are just as dangerous as the monsters outside. Chapter 13. Back at the logistics department, the air is thick with tension as Chen Yu stares down Minister Song. Zio Lin stays hidden in the shadows, sweating bullets as he wonders if these two are actually about to throw hands. Song just scoffs, looking completely unimpressed by the senior's posturing. He mocks Chen Yu, pointing out that provoking someone with his level of connections isn't exactly a high IQ move. One of Chen Yu's lackeys snaps, warning Song that even his friendship with the principal won't let him ignore academy rules. He shouts that the discipline department has formal authority, and Song has no right to get in their way. Suddenly, a sharp chime cuts through the argument, an incoming call from the academy president. Chen Yu's face hardens as he orders the call to be put through. A blue hologram flickers into life, and the president immediately demands to know why Chen Yu is harassing the logistics department. He gives a direct order to stand down, but Chen Yu tries to argue that they're just hunting for anomalies. Chen Yu grits his teeth, furious that he was so close to finally pinning something on Song. His subordinate isn't backing down either, accusing the president of being blatantly biased. He insists that the freshmen might be hiding right under their noses. The president's tone goes cold, as he explains that the entire academy owes Minister Song a debt they can never repay. Because of that favor, Song has a free pass to do whatever he wants as long as it doesn't sink the school. Chen Yu's ego takes a massive hit, and he lets out a frustrated growl. With no other choice, he barks out the order to retreat. The discipline squad turns around and starts their walk of shame out of the garden. Before disappearing, Chen Yu tosses a final threat over his shoulder, telling Song to watch his back. Song just gives him a lazy smirk, telling the senior to worry about himself instead. Once the coast is clear, Zio Lin steps out and apologizes for all the trouble he's caused. He's genuinely confused about how someone as eccentric as Song could have the school's leadership in his pocket. Song laughs it off, claiming those guys just pick fights because they're bored. He quickly changes the subject, ushering the kid away to get started on that beggar's chicken. Zio Lin can't believe the man is prioritizing dinner after almost getting into a political war. He warns Song that he's never made this before, so he can't promise it'll actually taste good. He starts by prepping the hybrid chicken, which is way tougher than any bird back home. He wraps it carefully in leaves and a thick layer of mud, following the traditional recipe. As the fire crackles, Zio Lin sits back and monitors the roast. The two of them wait in silence, the only sound being the wood snapping in the flames. For the first time since being dragged to this academy, Zio Lin actually feels a moment of peace. After 2 hours, a rich, mouth-watering aroma begins to fill the garden. Zio Lin cracks open the clay shell, sweating from the heat but relieved that it looks like a success. He starts to wonder if he might actually have a secret talent for the culinary arts. Song leans in, looking impressed as the steam rises from the golden brown meat. Song tore off a massive drumstick and handed it to Zio Lin for orchestrating this chicken dish. But when he notices Song isn't reaching for it, he asks if something is wrong. Song puts on a noble act, insisting that as the chef, Zio Lin deserves to take the very first bite. Starving after all the training and hiding, the freshman doesn't need to be told twice. He takes a massive, confident bite of the drumstick. His eyes light up. It's tender, flavorful, and easily the best chicken he's ever tasted. But as he chews, Song's expression turns serious and he asks a chilling question. How does his body actually feel? Zio Lin is confused. He doesn't understand why the minister is asking about how his body feels instead of how the food tastes. Suddenly, a sharp, rhythmic thumping starts in his chest. Something is very wrong. The chicken drops to the ground as he clutches his stomach. It feels like he just swallowed a gallon of liquid fire. Song Junlang stands over him, casually asking if the pain is the only thing he's feeling. He tells the kid to just endure it, promising the agony will pass once the process is complete. Zio Lin gasps on the floor, realizing the minister knew exactly what this chicken would do. The man looks down with a calm, almost predatory smile, watching his experiment unfold. The freshman's vision begins to blur as he loses the fight to stay awake. In his mind, he's floating in a void, his entire body radiating an intense golden light. Glowing veins of energy begin to trace patterns across his skin, flowing through his blood. The heat inside him becomes unbearable, like his very soul is being cooked. But under the pain, there's a surge of raw power he's never felt in his life. Song's notebook shows the truth. This was hybrid iron-crowned chicken number 3, specifically bred for physical enhancement. The minister notes that despite his improvements, the biological rejection response is still incredibly violent. He watches over the unconscious boy, waiting for the results of the transformation to settle. 2 days pass, and the sun rises over the quiet medical facility. The inside is a typical researcher's mess, a chaotic lab filled with papers and strange tools. Zio Lin groggily opens his eyes, his head spinning as if he's just come off a roller coaster. Song Junlang walks in, looking far too cheerful while carrying a bowl of glowing golden items. As soon as he's fully awake, Zio Lin snaps, accusing the man of using him as a lab rat. The minister just laughs it off, claiming there was never any real risk to his life. Zio Lin isn't having it, swearing he'd come back to haunt the guy if that meal had killed him. Song tells him to take a breath and relax, since he's clearly fine now. He suggests that before they argue anymore, the kid should take a look at his stats panel. The minister promises that he's in for a massive surprise. Zio Lin narrows his eyes, skeptical but willing to check the numbers. He summons the holographic interface, deciding to trust the man one last time. The display flickers to life, showing his updated attributes. He scans the list of numbers, his expression turning from annoyance to pure confusion. Suddenly, he lets out a shout of disbelief. His strength went up by a point, but his physique jumped by 2, and his overall rating finally hit F. He's stunned. Such a massive boost from a single meal seems impossible. He continues scrolling, and his eyes practically pop out of his head. His basic physical training skill has jumped 2 entire levels all at once. It's at level 3 now, a jump that would usually take weeks of exhausting work. Song Junlang looks like he's about to burst with pride as he sees the results. He lets out a triumphant laugh, screaming that his formula actually worked. Zio Lin demands an explanation for what that chicken really was. He asks if the effect really came from that mutant bird they just ate. Song pulls up a chair and tells him to take a seat so they can talk science. He reveals that the bird was a Tago Ironcrest chicken, a unique species he created. He explains that he spent years crossbreeding domestic chickens with alien creatures from the world of Norma. Song Junlang shifts the conversation to fiction, asking Zio Lin if he's ever read those stories where someone is transported to another world. He poses a hypothetical. If a primitive caveman were suddenly dropped into the middle of a modern city, how long would he actually survive? Zio Lin recognizes the theory immediately. It's a common trope in science fiction and survival stories. He explains that the caveman wouldn't have the right immune system for modern diseases and would likely be killed by common germs. A small illustration shows the poor caveman being overwhelmed by giant, malicious-looking microbes. Song confirms it's the same logic for them. Blue Star and Norma are fundamentally different environments. He explains that student bodies must reach a certain stat threshold before they can physically adapt to the new world. Zio Lin finally understands why the student council president was so alarmed by the principal's suggestion of an early entry. Song's brainwave was to find a shortcut by using the biology of Norma's creatures to speed up the human adaptation process. He sheepishly admits that his first attempt involved eating the creatures raw, which almost resulted in his death. Zio Lin is left speechless by the minister's absolute lack of self-preservation during his research. Song explains that his subsequent research focused on creating hybrids that would reduce the violent rejection response. He calls his breakthrough food therapy, though he notes it only works once per specific hybrid breed. Zio Lin listens intently as the man explains the biological limitations of his experiment. Song jokes that if people could just eat for stats, the academy wouldn't bother with the grueling physical training classes. While the chicken won't help him anymore, Song mentions he has plenty of other edible hybrids for the freshmen to test. Zio Lin realizes that despite the rewards, he's effectively become the minister's willing guinea pig. Song Junlang gives a soft, satisfied chuckle as he sees the realization sink in. Zio Lin agrees to help, but only on the condition that his life isn't put in danger again. Song promises he's safe, and then nonchalantly reveals that Zio Lin has been unconscious for 2 whole days. The news sends Zio Lin into a panic. He's terrified his credits will plummet for missing so much class. The minister reassures him, explaining that he's already approved a leave slip that covers his entire absence. Relieved, Zio Lin finally relaxes as he prepares to return to his normal student life. He heads for the door, and Song reminds him not to forget their dinner appointment later tonight. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, Gu Zioyu eats her meal in her usual quiet, focused manner. Behind her, several students are engaged in a loud and heated discussion about recent events. Han-sen tells the others to drop the subject of Zio Lin, clearly frustrated by how the situation turned out. The student who locked Zio Lin in the training field is fuming, unable to accept that the boy simply vanished for 2 days. He's even more annoyed that instead of being expelled, Zio Lin somehow managed to get on good terms with the Minister of Logistics. Gu Zioyu listens to the gossip, realizing that she really hasn't seen Zio Lin since the training field incident. She's pulled out of her thoughts when someone sits down at the table right next to her. Zio Lin appears with a casual wave and a grin, looking remarkably healthy for someone who was just missing. Gu Zioyu looks him up and down, demanding to know where on earth he's been for the last 48 hours. Zio Lin and Gu Zioyu sit in the cafeteria, where she immediately grills him on his 2-day disappearance. He gives her a vague brush-off, rubbing the back of his neck while trying to avoid a long explanation. The conversation is interrupted by a muscular student with short brown hair shouting from across the room. He sounds surprised and offended that Zio Lin actually had the guts to show his face in public again. Wang Dalin walks over with a boisterous laugh, mockingly calling Zio Lin their all-powerful acting monitor. He assumes Zio Lin must have been expelled for violating academy rules during his absence. He stands over their table with his arms crossed, condescendingly telling Zio Lin that he's still trash no matter how hard he trains. He laughs at the idea of an inept bird trying to fly early, insisting the gap in their strength is permanent. Zio Lin doesn't even bother looking up, casually digging in his ear with a smug grin. He tells the bully he's doing an amazing job and should definitely keep up the attitude. The sarcasm hits Wang Dalin like a physical blow, and his face contorts with rage. He snaps back, demanding to know what's with the crappy attitude. He keeps shouting, warning Zio Lin not to think he's special just because he's close with Minister Song from the logistics department. He reminds him that in this academy, strength is the only thing that matters. Wang Dalin turns to leave, throwing one last jab over his shoulder. He promises to show Zio Lin exactly how massive the gap between them is during the upcoming comprehensive exam. Zio Lin watches him stomp away, looking more bored than anything else. He mutters about how crazy the guy is before turning his attention back to his meal. Gu Zioyu ignores the drama entirely, pushing her glasses up as she asks if he's seen the new notice yet. Her serious expression suggests it's not something he can just brush off. She explains that the time for the first comprehensive exam has been rescheduled. She raises a finger to emphasize the point, her gaze fixed intently on him. Zio Lin is stunned to hear that the preparation time has been cut exactly in half. What was supposed to be 3 months is now only a month and a half away. He realizes he's in serious trouble since he barely has any time left to improve his abilities. If he can't make a massive jump in strength, passing the assessment will be an issue, let alone reaching the top 3. Today's class is on basic meditation, and he's already missed the first 2 days. He knows he has to hurry and catch up on everything he's missed if he wants any chance of survival. A very short girl in a purple witch outfit, Li Meiling, appears in the classroom. She is a third-year student and the substitute teacher for basic meditation, and she doesn't look happy to see him. She immediately starts shouting, accusing Zio Lin of being the one who bullied her senior, Cheng Na. She's convinced he caused trouble in swordsmanship class and forced Cheng Na into a rude request. Zio Lin puts his hands up defensively, trying to clarify that it's all a misunderstanding. He insists he never bullied Cheng Na and that it was her who wanted to test his strength. Li Meiling snaps back with a loud shout of disbelief. The other students sit on their meditation cushions, watching the substitute teacher lose her temper. She paints a dramatic vision of a crying Cheng Na, claiming she was only trying to help him. She accuses him of ignoring her advice on dual magic martial cultivation and even pressuring her with the student council president. Lee Mei-ling points a finger right at his chest, calling him an ungrateful fellow. She tells him that if it weren't for Chang-na speaking on his behalf, she wouldn't have even let him into her classroom. She turns her back on him and starts walking, lecturing about how freshmen like him never understand good intentions. Her tone is heavy with a grudge as she begins a story about a previous student. She recalls a junior who was exactly like him, stubbornly insisting on taking the path of dual cultivation despite being advised against it repeatedly. Eventually, the academy had no choice but to let him do as he pleased. A flashback shows Chang-na happily talking to a male student in tactical gear. It was a simpler time before the tragedy that was about to unfold. In that student's very first encounter in the new world, his unrefined magic and half-baked sword skills failed him. He was torn to shreds by a pack of savage, red-eyed monsters as he stood alone on the battlefield. Lee Mei-ling describes the aftermath, saying his body was nothing but a pile of shredded meat when it was sent back. A vision of Chang-na shows her crying over the loss of her junior. The incident became a lifelong nightmare for Chang-na, leaving her with a crushing sense of guilt. Lee Mei-ling stares ahead, her voice trembling with emotion as she explains that Xiao Lin knows nothing of that pain. She looks down, her face shadowed by the brim of her witch hat as she relives the memory. The weight of her senior's trauma seems to rest squarely on her small shoulders. Xiao Lin stands silently behind her, finally understanding why Chang-na was so opposed to his training path. It wasn't about looking down on him, it was about preventing another death. He realizes that her actions came from a place of genuine concern after witnessing such a horrific tragedy in the past. He watches Lee Mei-ling as she trembles with anger and sorrow. He tells his teacher that he understands her point, but his expression remains firm. He has no intention of backing down from his chosen path. Xiao Lin adjusts his collar and looks up with a confident smile, telling her not to worry. He vows that everything he does is for survival, and he won't let history repeat itself with him. Lee Mei-ling looks at him with surprise, her purple eyes wide behind her glasses. She seems taken aback by the intensity of his conviction. She huffs and crosses her arms, telling him that survival is easier said than done. She warns him that she won't be giving him any private makeup lessons for the classes he missed, so he'll have to figure it out himself. Xiao Lin gives her a simple acknowledgement and starts walking toward the back of the classroom. The other students watch him pass, their expressions ranging from curious to indifferent. Gu Xiaoyu waves him over from her spot on a meditation cushion, signaling for him to join her. She looks much more approachable than the substitute teacher. Xiao Lin spots her and heads over, looking relieved to see a friendly face. He had been worried about falling behind in a class he knew nothing about. She hands him a brown notebook, explaining that these are her notes from the last 2 days of classes. Xiao Lin takes it gratefully, thanking her for the help. He opens the notebook and starts skimming through the detailed handwriting. He's impressed by how thorough she is, even with the basics of meditation. The notes describe the 4 major elements that make up their world: wind, fire, water, and earth. Each one is represented by a small, glowing wisp of energy in the diagram. It goes on to explain how powerful mages can control these elements at will, combining them like lines of code to construct complex and devastating spells. A silhouette of a mage is shown wielding all 4 elements simultaneously. The essence of meditation is to perceive these elements drifting in the air, establish a connection, and then try to control them. Xiao Lin sits cross-legged, surrounded by swirling elemental energy as he attempts the exercise. He shuts his eyes tight, sweat beaded on his forehead as he tries to sense anything at all. After a few moments, he realizes something is wrong because the world around him remains completely empty. Xiao Lin sits cross-legged, eyes squeezed shut as he tries to focus. He's sweating from the effort, but after a long silence, he realizes he still can't perceive a single thing. A golden, glowing fruit is tossed into the air and caught by a hand. A voice calls out, asking if he's hit a roadblock in his meditation studies. He visits the night garden to see Song Junlang, hopping for a shortcut. He points to the cabbages and asks if there's any food that can magically boost his elemental perception. Song Junlang looks at him with a deadpan expression, asking if he looks like a cartoon character with a bottomless pocket of gadgets. Xiao Lin looks absolutely crushed in the corner of the frame. The senior leans against a tree, casually snacking on the glowing fruit. He explains that failing to start is completely normal, as the jump from 0 to 1 experience point is the hardest hurdle to clear. He notes that while some get it in a week, others might struggle for months. Zio Lin snaps back with urgency, knowing he doesn't have months with the first assessment looming in just 4 weeks. Song Junlang rubs his chin, considering the problem. He suggests that if he can't get it on his own, he should look for a classmate with high intelligence to learn from their experience. He explains the mechanical link. Elemental perception is tied directly to the intelligence attribute. The higher the stat, the easier it is to break through that initial barrier. A light bulb goes off in Zio Lin's head as he remembers his authority as acting monitor. He realizes he can use the system to check the attribute values of everyone in his class. He reaches out and swipes through a holographic screen, searching the student database. He knows exactly who to look for, the one with the highest intelligence. His eye goes wide with shock as the data pulls up on his screen. Something in the profile is completely unexpected, leaving him staring in disbelief. The system displays Gu Zioyu's student profile, revealing an incredible 36 points in intelligence. But at the bottom, it lists her remaining lifespan as a mere 2 years. He stares at the glowing text, unable to believe what he's seeing. Gu Zioyu looks back from the screen, her stoic expression hiding a ticking clock. Zio Lin walks through the academy corridors, his mind heavy with the secret he just uncovered. The news has completely derailed his focus on training. He reaches the classroom and throws the doors open, his eyes immediately searching the room. He looks determined to confront the issue. Gu Zioyu is already there, sitting quietly on her meditation cushion. She seems to sense his arrival and shifts her attention. She gives him a polite wave and a small greeting. She looks as composed as ever, showing no sign of the tragedy hidden in her stats. Zio Lin drops onto the cushion in front of her, his brow furrowed. He doesn't bother with small talk, his serious expression signaling that something is wrong. He reminds her that as the acting monitor, he has the power to look at student profiles. He looks up at her, hesitant but determined to speak. He tells her straight out that he saw her natural lifespan. He mentions the exact remaining time, 2 years, and waits for her reaction. Internal panic sets in immediately as he realizes how creepy he sounds prying into her private business. He turns into a sweating, spiraling chibai, cursing the awkwardness he just created. Gu Zioyu stares at him through her glasses, her expression unreadable. For a long moment the classroom is silent. She sits calmly, her hands resting on her knees. She doesn't look angry or scared, just quietly observant as he waits for her to say something. She finally asks why he's bringing this up so suddenly. Her voice is level, betraying none of the weight the topic carries. Zio Lin leans in close, his voice dropping to a whisper as he asks if she's suffering from some kind of terminal illness. He looks deeply concerned for her well-being. He tells her that since they've survived life-or-death situations together, he wants to help her find a solution. He places a hand on his chest, speaking with genuine sincerity. Gu Zioyu begins to speak, her gaze drifting slightly as she prepares to reveal the truth. She remains remarkably composed. She clarifies that it's not a disease or a terminal illness. She explains simply that it's something she was born with, a natural condition. Zio Lin's eyes go wide. The idea of being born with such a short lifespan is something he can't quite wrap his head around. He realizes why she was so laser-focused when Qin Chuan mentioned that staying at the school could increase lifespan. She confirms it with a soft, yeah, acknowledging her motivation. She reminds him of the Academy's rules. Those who fail the assessment lose their memories and get sent home to Blue Star. She looks at him with a somber intensity. She explains that while going back might be fine for others, for her it means only 2 years left with no way to change her fate. Her resolve to stay at the academy is absolute. She looks him in the eye and thanks him sincerely. She credits his help with giving her the chance to stay and sees this one opportunity to live. Zio Lin looks away, rubbing his head in embarrassment. He plays it off as a win-win situation, claiming he just wanted to maximize his own rewards. He tells her she can ask him for help anytime. He considers her a friend after surviving the admission test together. The PA system on the wall suddenly crackles to life, cutting through the emotional moment between them. The classroom doors swing open and Li Meiling stomps in, looking completely miserable. She grumbles about only being a substitute teacher for a handful of credits. She stops in her tracks when she sees the students already waiting. She looks them over with a skeptical eye, her annoyance still clear. A small, floating version of the witch teacher gives them a begrudging humph. She admits she can offer a bit of praise since they actually showed up on time. Zio Lin gives her a bright, enthusiastic acknowledgement, thanking her for the compliment. Gu Zioyu just watches silently, her expression returning to its usual stoic state. Li Meiling snaps at them, pointing a finger as she reminds them of their failure in the last session. She notes that they didn't even manage basic elemental perception before the bell rang. She yells at them to get out and stick to swinging swords if they're still stuck in the same place today. Her sharp warning leaves no room for excuses. Zio Lin puts on a polite smile, nodding along to the teacher's sharp words. Internally, he notes that while the senior looks petite and cute, her temper is surprisingly explosive. The other students in the room maintain a cautious silence, their expressions varying from focused to intimidated. They all keep their heads down, avoiding the teacher's wrath. Zio Lin closes his eyes and attempts to enter a meditative state once more. A bead of sweat rolls down his forehead as he struggles to find any sign of the elemental world. Despite his intense focus, the world remains a void of darkness. He realizes with frustration that he still can't perceive a single bit of elemental energy, just like his previous attempts. His eyes snap open, burning with a new resolve. Since conventional training methods are failing him, he decides it's time to use his one remaining ace in the hole. He concentrates on his unique talent, the top student ability. A surge of power washes over him as he prepares to activate the skill and bypass his natural limitations. His vision shifts, allowing him to scan the entire classroom and the students seated within it. He searches for anyone who has already mastered the basics of meditation. Most of his classmates show up as having no detectable skills, but his scan finally lands on someone with an active ability. A blue aura surrounds a student who has reached level 1 of basic meditation. Zio Lin's gaze narrows as he processes the data, noting that the vast majority of the class is still at level 0. He continues his search, looking for a more potent source of knowledge. His eyes settle on Gu Zioyu, who is bathed in a brilliant, golden elemental flame. He's stunned to see her meditation skill is already at level 6, dwarfing everyone else in the room. Without hesitation, he commands the system to copy her ability. A notification appears, confirming he now has access to level 6 basic meditation for the next 3 minutes. The world around him suddenly explodes into vibrant colors, with red and blue elemental trails swirling through the air. He stands in awe, finally seeing the world as a powerful mage would. He knows he only has a short window of time before the copied skill expires. He resolves to imprint this feeling into his mind so he can unlock the ability permanently. At the front of the room, Li Meiling leans on her desk, looking completely disinterested. Her workspace is cluttered with ancient books, scrolls, and a large crystal ball. She lets out a long, bored sigh, resting her chin on her hand. Her mind drifts away from the lesson, wishing she could skip out and go play with someone named Nana. She looks out at the class with a skeptical gaze, thinking that most of the students are just brats who don't understand the complexity of magic. In her mind, Gu Zioyu is the only one with any real talent. Suddenly, her eyes widen in shock as she senses a massive shift in the room's energy. She snaps her head toward the source of the disturbance, her boredom instantly forgotten. She stares in disbelief at Zio Lin, who is now the center of a powerful elemental vortex. The power of the elements is gathering around him on its own initiative, a feat that should be impossible for a novice. She stands up from her desk, her mouth agape as she struggles to make sense of what she's seeing. She knows his intelligence stat is incredibly low, making this sudden breakthrough inexplicable. Zio Lin remains perfectly still, a confident smirk playing on his lips as the purple energy of the copied skill flows through him. A sharp ding echoes in his mind, signaling a system update. A bright holographic screen appears before him, announcing that he has successfully unlocked the basic meditation skill. He has finally reached level 1 on his own terms. He clenches his fist in triumph, feeling the newfound connection to the elements. He recalls Minister Song's advice, that perceiving the elements just once is the key to unlocking the path. His moment of celebration is cut short as Li Meiling marches over to him. She looks down at him, her shadow looming over his seated form. She plants her hands on her hips, her expression a mix of suspicion and genuine amazement. She demands an honest confession, certain that he must have used some kind of underhanded trick to cause such a commotion. A hand suddenly clamps down on Zio Lin's wrist. The command is short and sharp. He's going somewhere whether he likes it or not. He looks down to see a petite girl in a witch's hat dragging him out of the room. He's caught off guard, barely managing to stammer out a question as Lee Mei-ling pulls him along. Lee Mei-ling pulls up his student profile on a holographic interface. She's looking for answers about his recent performance in class. Her eyes go wide as she sees his status. It's confirmed. Zio Lin has actually unlocked level 1 basic meditation, something that should be impossible with his low stats. She turns on him, demanding an immediate explanation. She's not in the mood for games and wants the truth behind his sudden breakthrough. Zio Lin tries to play it off as a simple epiphany, but his awkward grin doesn't help. Lee Mei-ling isn't buying a single word of his natural talent excuse. He quickly switches tactics, crediting his success to private tutoring from Gu Zioyu and some questionable snacks from Song Junlang's lab. It's a half-truth designed to sound plausible enough to get her off his back. He shrugs, suggesting that maybe one of those weird fruits gave him a temporary boost. It's the perfect cover. If something weird happened, just blame the guy known for feeding students experimental food. The mention of Song Junlang actually works. Since that man is a known lunatic in the academy, his involvement makes any impossible situation seem likely. Lee Mei-ling gives him a stern warning about being a lab rat for a man who values research over human life. Zio Lin just nods along, relieved that she's finally dropped the interrogation. Feeling bold, Zio Lin asks when he can finally start learning real spells. He's eager to see what he can do now that he's unlocked meditation. Instead of an answer, he gets a sharp flick to the forehead. It's a literal reality check delivered with a satisfying snap. She points out the obvious flaw in his plan. His intelligence stat is a dismal 2 points. Unlocking meditation is just the start. Controlling elements and forming spells requires a brain capacity he simply doesn't have. She lays it out plainly, calling his dreams of magic pure wishful thinking for his first year. Zio Lin slumps, the harsh reality of his stats finally sinking in. He realizes his low intelligence is a major roadblock. While his skill-copying talent is powerful, the long cooldown means he can't rely on it for his daily training. He wonders if he's stuck being a pure physical fighter. He knows he needs a hidden ace to survive the upcoming assessments, and a little magic would have been perfect. Lee Mei-ling watches him, realizing he's likely trying the dangerous path of dual cultivation out of desperation. She knows the freshman trials are brutal and can't entirely blame him for taking such a risk just to survive. She clears her throat to break the heavy silence. Zio Lin snaps out of his thoughts as she prepares to offer a bit more advice. She acts like she's doing him a massive favor, claiming she wouldn't bother helping just anyone. It's her way of softening the blow before giving him a lead. She reminds him of the students he saw using staves during the entrance exam. Zio Lin's eyes widen as he starts to see where she's going with this. He remembers picking up a staff during the test and firing off an energy bomb without knowing a single spell. It was the only time magic actually worked for him. Lee Mei-ling explains that a staff acts as a bridge. It lowers the requirement for element control and boosts perception, essentially doing the heavy lifting for a mage with low stats. Those starter staves had the spells preloaded. As long as a person has even a tiny bit of intelligence, they can trigger the enchantment without needing to master the spell themselves. She points him toward the equipment trading area. There, he can find gear with built-in skills, which is exactly what he needs to bridge the gap in his abilities. Zio Lin is genuinely grateful, thanking her profusely for the tip. This changes everything for his upcoming training. She adds one final warning. The trading area is full of junk. Some items are so poorly made they'll explode in his face after a couple of uses if he isn't careful. She tells him to stay away from the flashy high-tier gear. With his low stats, he'd be lucky to even handle a basic staff without it going haywire. Zio Lin promises to follow the advice as she heads off. He's got a plan now, and he isn't going to waste it on flashy, useless gear. Lee Mei-ling pauses at the door, one last thought on her mind. She gives him a final, somber reminder. Don't risk your life just to get stronger. In this academy, staying alive is the only goal that truly matters. Zio Lin watches her go, realizing she's a lot nicer than her sharp tongue makes her out to be. She clearly cares more about the freshman than she lets on. Later, he arrives at the trading area with 800 exchange points burning a hole in his pocket. It's time to see what that money can buy him. He has to be smart with his budget. Entering the simulation costs 500 points, a deposit he only gets back if he survives and clears the floor. That leaves him with only 300 points for gear. After a week of scouring the market and haggling with sellers, he finally secures 2 customized novice weapons that fit his unique needs. He's now the owner of an enhanced staff with an ice bolt enchantment and a short sword that can trigger a wind blade. It's a modest setup, but it's tailored specifically for his combat style. Fully geared up in his tactical suit, Zio Lin stands ready in the training grounds. He's done the prep work. Now it's time to see if his plan actually works in a real fight. He takes a deep breath, mentally checking his gear one last time. Everything is in place. A confirmation screen pops up for the E-rank simulation. It's a high-stakes gamble. Lose here, and he loses more than half of his savings. Without hesitation, he taps the screen to confirm. There's no turning back now. The system announces his entry as the world around him begins to shift. Digital artifacts and floating stones signal the start of the holographic generation. The simulation roars to life, replacing the sterile academy room with a landscape of jagged rock and molten lava. Zio Lin stares ahead, his expression hardening as the environment finishes loading. The system issues one final warning to get ready. The trial has officially begun. The simulation drops Zio Lin into the blazing lava cave, a jagged landscape of rock and flowing magma. A system window pops up, laying out his objectives. Either reach a specific point deep in the cave or survive for 2 straight hours. The silence of the cave is broken by a low growl from the shadows. A stone-armored rat emerges, baring its sharp teeth as it prepares to lunge. From the darkness of a side tunnel, dozens of red eyes flicker to life. The simulation isn't wasting any time, throwing a whole pack of monsters at him right from the start. Zio Lin draws his new short sword, looking completely unbothered by the growing numbers. He intentionally chose the E-rank difficulty to push his limits and see what his new gear can really do. The pack of rats charges all at once, their heavy paws thumping against the dry rock. Their snarls echo through the cavern as they close the distance. Zio Lin raises his short sword, teal energy beginning to swirl around the blade. He's been waiting to test the raw power of these customized weapons in a real fight. He steps forward and unleashes a wind blade, a crescent of sharp energy that slices through the air. The system confirms the attack has a piercing effect, designed to bypass the monster's tough armor. The teal energy carves through the front line, leaving trails of light in its wake. It's an efficient opening move that keeps the pack from surrounding him. Teal energy pulses around him as he focuses on the next wave. He knows that in this academy, the only way to survive the upcoming death assessments is to keep leveling up and getting stronger. He throws himself into the thick of it, moving with a speed and precision he didn't have before. The word survive is the only thing on his mind as he dodges a set of claws. As the rats fall, their forms dissolve into blue digital particles that drift away into the cave air. It's a clean kill, leaving nothing behind but experience points. He stands among the fatting embers of his enemies, a small smirk playing on his lips. The armor-piercing effect of his new sword is making short work of these creatures compared to the skeletons he fought last time. A roar much louder than the others shakes the ground, nearly knocking Zio Lin off balance. He looks up to see a massive shadow looming over him. This stone-armored rat is twice the size of the others, its back covered in jagged red crystals that glow with heat. This has to be the pack leader, and it looks a lot more dangerous than its subordinates. Teal energy once again coats his short sword as he prepares for the bigger fight. He notes that the timing of this boss's appearance is actually perfect for his training. He switches things up, pulling out his staff and letting blue magical energy gather around the crystal tip. He's ready to see how his magic-focused weapon handles a high-tier target. The giant rat charges, its heavy frame kicking up a cloud of dust as it roars. It's moving surprisingly fast for its size, closing the gap in a heartbeat. Zio Lin stands his ground, raising his staff high. A bright blue orb of light begins to glow at the top, illuminating the rocky cave walls. An ice bolt flies from the staff, slamming directly into the giant rat chest. The spell hits with a frozen impact, dealing F-rank damage and slowing the monster's momentum. Frost spreads across the creature's thick hide, locking its joints and slowing its movements to a crawl. The 1-second freeze effect worked perfectly, leaving the beast wide open. Seeing his opening, Zyro Lin immediately stows the staff and draws his short sword in one smooth motion. Teal light flickers along the edge as he prepares a finishing blow. He delivers a powerful slash, the teal energy cutting through the frozen armor like it's nothing. The giant rat doesn't even have a chance to scream before it's taken down. Silence returns to the cave as the leader dissolves into particles just like the others. Zyro Lin stands alone on the rocky plateau, the immediate threat cleared. He looks down at his blade, feeling satisfied with the results. Using the short sword for piercing damage and the staff for crowd control is exactly the combat flow he was aiming for. A series of system windows pop up, showing a healthy boost to his mastery levels. He's gaining experience in short sword use, staff handling, and overall physical fitness all at once. He thinks back to his previous training sessions on the academy treadmills, where progress felt like a crawl. Combat simulation is proving to be much more efficient for a guy with his attributes. He checks the timer and sees he's only been in there for about 15 minutes. Even though he's met the initial requirements, he knows there's more to be gained by staying inside. He takes a moment to sit back and rest against the cool rock, catching his breath. He decides to pace his stamina so he can explore deeper into the cave once he's recovered. A sharp ding notification cuts through the ambient noise of the cave, snapping him back to attention. He pulls up his holographic interface and is greeted by a flood of notifications from the Academy's digital forum. He's confused by the sudden attention since he's been busy training. His eyes narrow as he reads a headline specifically questioning his special perfect attendance. It seems someone is calling him out for enjoying privileges he supposedly didn't earn. The post was made by Wang Dalin, who's accusing Zyro Lin of skipping class and sucking up to Song Junlang to avoid credit deductions. He's making a public scene about Zyro Lin's single-digit attributes. Wang Dalin doesn't stop there, calling Zyro Lin trash and claiming he only became acting monitor through pure luck. He's calling for the Academy to expel Zyro Lin immediately for making a joke of the rules. Zyro Lin sits quietly, scrolling through the comments left by other students. Some are curious if it's true, while others are quick to judge his dual cultivation path as a suicide mission. A dark look crosses Zyro Lin's face as he stares at the screen, a mental image of Wang Dalin's arrogant face popping into his head. He's tired of this guy using every petty method available just to annoy him. Suddenly, an error message flashes across the blue screen, stating that the post is no longer visible. He blinks in surprise, wondering why it would just vanish. A system update informs him that the post was deleted by an administrator for being malicious. Not only that, but Wang Dalin has been slapped with a 7-day ban for the personal attack. Zyro Lin looks up from the screen, genuinely curious about who would step in to help him like that. A private message arrives from Cheng Na, telling him to keep training hard. She reminds him that becoming strong is the only response he needs to give his haters. He realizes it was Senior Cheng Na who looked out for him. A small, confident smile returns to his face as he reads her encouraging words. He stands up and brushes himself off, his focus returning to the task at hand. He realizes he has no more time to waste on childish drama or people like Wang Dalin. He grips his short sword, the blade catching the dim light of the cave. The only thing that matters now is getting stronger, and he's ready to dive back into the simulation to make it happen. Zyro Lin continues deeper into the blazing lava cave, his footsteps echoing against the dry stone. Orange crystals jut from the walls, casting a flickering light over the jagged path ahead. He stops for a moment, observing the intricate details of the rock formations. He's reminded that these simulations are perfect recreations of the actual new world, meant to prepare students for the harsh reality outside the academy. As he passes the remains of a stone-armored rat, a thought crosses his mind. If the academy has technology this advanced, he wonders why they still insist on high-stakes exams that carry a real penalty of death. The sudden silence of the cave puts him on high alert. Just minutes ago, the tunnels were crawling with monsters. but now there isn't a single sound to be heard. The ceiling suddenly erupts in a violent explosion of fire and stone. Debris rains down as a massive force slams into the ground right in front of him. Xiao Lin barely has time to react as a second pillar of energy blasts through the cavern. He shields his face from the intense heat and the shockwave of the impact. Through the swirling smoke and steam, Xiao Lin looks up with a hardened expression. Sweat beads on his forehead as he tries to make out the source of the devastating attack. His eyes widen in shock as the dust begins to settle. Something far more dangerous than a simple cave monster has just entered the arena. A massive silhouette looms through the thinning smoke, a gargantuan axe resting on its shoulder. Xiao Lin immediately recognizes it as a member of the native races from planet Norma. The creature steps forward, revealing the imposing form of a lava berserker from the troll race. Its skin is a patchwork of dark muscle and glowing red veins, marking it as a black iron rank threat. On planet Norma and within the Academy, every living being is categorized into tiers based on their raw power. It's a rigid system that defines the hierarchy of the entire new world. Most freshmen, including Xiao Lin, fall into the ordinary rank. This level is reserved for those whose total attribute values haven't yet crossed the 100-point threshold. Above them is the black iron rank, where individuals boast attribute totals exceeding 100 points. This rank is considered the absolute minimum requirement for anyone hopping to set foot in the new world. The ladder continues upward through the bronze rank, held by seasoned veterans who have survived countless battles. These warriors are the backbone of the Academy's military strength. Beyond that are the silver rank entities, often taking the form of powerful mythical beasts that can dominate entire regions. The gold rank represents a level of power that begins to transcend mortal limitations. Those who reach this height are often viewed as more than human by those below them. Near the pinnacle is the dark gold rank, a tier occupied by legendary creatures like the great dragons. Their presence alone is enough to change the course of a war. At the very top stands the legendary rank. These are the masters of magic and combat whose names are recorded in history, possessing power that few can even imagine. Xiao Lin stares at the lava berserker, realizing the sheer gap between them. Being a black iron rank means this creature has attributes at least 8 times higher than his own. Standing before the giant, Xiao Lin feels small and vulnerable. His current attribute total is only 13 points, making him little more than an ant in the eyes of this titan. The berserker's glowing eyes fix on him, its massive axe beginning to glow with heat. Xiao Lin knows that a head-on fight against a black iron opponent at his current level can only end in a crushing defeat.